Last but not least, make sure that you are not only downloading, but you're leaving a message, leaving a review on those podcasts. Let's get 5 stars, leave about 2 reviews. Let's get these likes up as well on YouTube. Tonight's topic has already been spicy, and we're going to keep it there. And tonight's topic is about Carmelo Anthony. Is he a victim or a murderer? We are still awaiting more details. He is in custody in Frisco at the moment. He will be transferred to their county maybe within a week or so. He has a $1 million bond. And unfortunately, he took the life, allegedly, of Austin Metcalf, who is also an athlete in the same school district. And we haven't really had a moment of silence, but we will do that and we will get back to the conversation.
Chad, you just said so. So he's in the jail. How long do they keep you in jail before they take you to the county in Texas?
Oh, maybe a 5 days,
He's
5 to 7 days.
no, he's already in the county jail. He's at Collin County already. He was at Frisco City for about three
He was
days, and then they moved him over to county. He's in Collin County
he's
in
in
the
county
county
now.
already.
And so his bond
Yeah,
is bond.
His
So
bond's $1 million.
his bond's $1 million. So does now what does that mean? When you have bond, do you do 10% to or do you? I mean, how does that handled? I
It's
don't know.
it's
it's
ten
ten
You have to put up
percent.
100 grand. Yeah.
It's 10%.
10% bonds, man, or you can put the whole thing up, or you can your lawyer could get a bond for you. Um, there are different other means. Um, there is, but it's usually 10% to a bondsman, so you need 100 grand on this one.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is because people are saying that the bond is too high, and that could be attributed to race, and people are complaining about the money that's being raised, and that's also attributed to race, and that's why guys, when we having these discussion and the conversations, I'm not trying to get into the well, it goes where it goes, but those are the things that fascinate me about this case more so than anything. And we're not here for my fascination; we're here for everyone's fascination, about this case. So this case, it seems like we got a lot to talk about. So we got Divine, we got Khaleesi, we got Chat, we got a lot of people we haven't heard from here. And I want everyone to unmic, guys. If you haven't spoken yet, please feel free. Maybe Rashawn will wake up in the middle of this after TC put her to sleep. She'll wake up and start contributing as well. But yeah, folks, if you guys are either on CH or either here on Chatter, uh, on Mike, man, this is a very interesting topic, and most of all, guys, we have someone that's right there. That's literally miles away. And Kathy, she's here tonight, and so we definitely are going to be able to get as much information, and guys, maybe get a different point of view, a different perspective. And we have TC here holding it down with us tonight as well, guys. So with
Hey,
that being said,
Jonathan, could you add
yes,
Adrian to the queue?
Adrian, you no, you
Okay.
matter of fact, you're true crime. You're true crime. Let's go, Adrian.
You know,
Yeah.
I want to go. I want in the next cycle because I have a lot to say. And I think that's amazing that TC is actually an attorney and not actually delivering the news. Pretty interesting. You guys missed a few things, but I want one more round and then I'll go. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Jump in when you're ready, Adrian. Never, ever, ever, because you're, guys. Adrian is the host of Debate the News True Crime. Her and Joseph, they do a great job, and they've covered so many different cases already. The Casey Anthony case. They've done guys. They've done Ted Bundy. They've been doing a bunch of different cases. John Benet Ramsey. They've been doing a bunch of cases, guys, and those podcasts they have enough episodes now to actually start putting their podcast out week. I mean, what I don't know if 3 times a week or so. That's what they're going to do, and that's debate the news, true crime. So yeah, so you never have to actually jump in. So go ahead. I'm going to toss it over to you, chat, and guys, anyone wants to jump in, the mic's open. The mic
Yeah, I'd
is
like to
open.
jump in.
Mic
I'd
is
love to chime in, Jonathan.
You
I go
got
now.
it.
Yeah,
oh
I'm not sure. Well, thanks for having me up. How's everybody doing? What's up, Jonathan? Hope everybody's well. So, one thing I want to point out here, I think it's getting brought up, but it's not getting brought up. It's not people are understanding how important it is. And again, there's a reason why this tent thing gets brought up every time someone talks about this. The tent thing is important because you got to understand. And this is just for the people over on here that don't understand about the track meets. For everyone who understands this, just bear with me. So my daughter's on the high school track team. So these tents, which are just like the regular old tailgate tents, everybody knows what we're talking about. And people grab four ends, they walk away from each other. The tent pops up. They got their logo on the top, and they put two legs at its shortest setting, and the other two legs they put at its longest setting. And what these schools do is the entire like first like 10 to 12 rows of the bleachers, the entire length of the bleachers, they put these tents up. Every school, bang, 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 right? And so every school has a tent, and they're right next to each other, the whole first 10 rows. So this, and I think Jonathan made a good point when he said the fact that they had history sitting under that tent is that looks bad for Carmelo. To be honest with you, but what you have to understand about these in these track meets, fucking track meets, they start at like 4 and they go to like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So it's not like a timed game like a football game or a basketball game. But the important part about these tents is it's the equivalent of like your sideline in football or like your bench in basketball. That's why this is important here. In the Carmelo, my understanding, Carmelo was on a track team, so he would know this. It's like kind of like the unwritten rule. You don't go sit underneath another team's bench. They got bins of snacks, the fruits. There's Gatorades. All the kids' stuff is there, right? When they're running, their phones and shit are there. Their backpacks are there. All their shit's there, right? You just don't do it. Again, think of it like the other team's sideline. I know it's in the bleachers and they're all next to each other, but think of it like that. That's why this is important. And so now we all know how the thing goes down, right? And I hate bringing race into this thing. It's really stupid. No one should bring race into this. It always seems to get brought up when there's people that look different and there's a situation. But since people are bringing it up about whole stand your ground is only for white people, stuff like that, I mean, if a white kid went and sat underneath another school's tent and the black kid asks him to leave, the white kid says no, and everything happens the same way, and the white kid stabs the black kid, no one on here is going to be saying, "Oh, it's just a good white kid. He should have been allowed." No, he shouldn't have stabbed the guy. He shouldn't have had the knife with him. He shouldn't have stabbed the guy. And if they had a history, he certainly shouldn't have walked underneath the tent because that looks bad. Now the raining thing doesn't make any sense because they asked you to leave right away, and then after the scuffle and you stab him, then you go and run away and you throw the knife. So if you were going to run away after the stabbing, why don't you just leave when they asked you to leave the first time? It doesn't really. It seems kind of strange. I don't. The kid Carmelo. I mean, from his history and stuff, it doesn't seem like this would have. I don't know. It just seems strange to me. This whole situation seems really, really weird. Like all of the guys on here. I'll end with this. For all the guys on here, we were all in high school at one point in time, regardless of how old you were. We all should agree this should have ended one way. Hey, the kid sits down. Hey, get up and leave. No, I'm not leaving. Then the kid says, you got to leave. Then they're like, one kid pushes one kid. The other kid pushes them back. There's a punch thrown. Either the punch lands or the kid slips the punch. They grab each other. They start wrestling around the bleachers. And then people break it up. And that's the end of it. That's how this situation should have ended. That's how it always should have ended. Just they should have fought. And it's over with. Having the knife is crazy. That's crazy, guys. If anyone's been in
Well,
these track meets, it's nuts.
yeah, but also you're putting your adult man logic on what a teenager would do that felt like there was a size difference, even if you take race out of it, right? Because when I gave this the synopsis at the top, I didn't mention that for a reason because I know it would come up. But he was taller than him. He was bigger than him, right? And so like you have that along with anxiety, it's heightened. And I guarantee you it wasn't just one person talking to him. If we're going to speculate, let's do it. Right, I am pretty sure because I did see another video. I'm pretty sure they weren't just one on one. I'm sure you see your buddies out there or having a confrontation with someone. Everybody's going to start crowding around, right?
Oh,
Or Josh,
yeah, no, that's a
why
fair
is he
point.
here? Why is he here? And then when you talked about him stabbing and running, you don't know. Now, I'm not saying that he was right in doing what he did. I'm not saying that, but that child, because they're both their children, that child was very anxious. That child felt that his life was in danger, or else why would he bring a knife?
No, I'm
Like
just saying the
we
running
also have to
part.
take that in. Okay, go ahead.
I was saying the running
Because
part
you weren't
was for
interrupted. But go
the
ahead.
raining. He wanted to get under the tent for raining. And look, like I said, the tents are all. That's what I was trying to explain. That's why it's so important about this tent thing. It's like the team's benches. It's like their sidelines. They're all right next to each other. Like it's literally like because like I said, my daughter's on the track team. These they're like the entire front of the bleachers, the whole length of the bleachers. You know, no one can sit and watch the track meet from the first like 15 rows and down. It's all tents, all the different schools. Bang, 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 bang. So wherever this kid's school's tent was, it wouldn't have been far away. It was right there. And so when he sits down there, and the reason I pointed out is because it doesn't matter who would have sat there, they would have been asked to leave. It, like I said, it's like going to sit.
Why
It's
why
going to
didn't
go. It's
Austin
going to
walk
sit on another
away?
team's bench in
Why
basketball.
didn't Austin walk away?
It's that's what
I'm
I'm trying.
ready
That's why
when
I'm
you guys
explaining
are
this.
to talk
It's that
news.
Yeah, well,
it's
I
the
was cut
equivalent
off,
of going to
so
sit.
so
Well, that's what I'm saying.
hold
It's
on
the
a second.
equivalent. It's the equivalent of going to sit on another team's bench in basketball. He would be
Yeah,
asked
I
to
hope
leave.
no, it's
Like they
not
would
the
be like, "Yo, what are you
equivalent.
doing here?"
It's not the equivalent because in basketball, what sports did you play? Basketball's on
I
the
don't.
total opposite end of of the court. It's
The
not
basketballs are
similar.
right there.
You are
No,
literally on. No, they are not right next to each other.
the score
There's
tables
a
is the
whole
score
table
tables
in
is
between them.
right. But that, no, that's why I explained to you
and
how the
and
that's what.
and they're on top of each other. The other thing is also it is easy for other kids to go under other kids' tents. They have girlfriends and boyfriends that go to another school. They have friends from church that go to another school. Like they're that whole separatism that y'all are trying to say that happens in track meets, that does not happen. You literally
Okay,
run with the same, hold on a second, you run with the same schools in your district. You typically see those people multiple times during track season. So you become friends. You may have gone to church, then you see your friend that goes to the school across town or whatever. Like these people aren't total strangers. These two gentlemen knew each other. That's an example right there. They
Okay,
didn't
so let me
even.
chat. Can I get in
So,
for a
yeah,
second?
yeah. I want to say something, chat, real quick,
I
because
just would like to finish,
you
but
go
go ahead. No,
finish,
no, no.
finish.
Go ahead, John.
No,
That's
no,
your
no,
stuff.
finish, no, finish, no, finish.
well, okay,
No, let her finish, because she's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I'm just saying, like they went to two separate schools, but they still knew each other. So that tells you how they commingle.
right.
Like to act like they wouldn't, like it's far fetched that that he would be under his tent. It to me is crazy. I also think that Austin could have walked away when it got contentious. He
It,
could have walked away, but he didn't. He chose to step up and grab at Carmelo's bag. He could have walked away and said, "Man, I listen. I don't. Just leave, bro. You can go and walk away." If he felt himself get heated, but he didn't. He bucked up to him.
so just a 30-second response. I know somebody else wanted to go. Just a quick 30-second response. I understand what you're saying, and again, I don't.
Before you respond, I want to respond, because I think what I'm going to add, I think you're going to be able to wrap it up. Chat, I'm sorry. I ran track my whole, what you call it, junior high school and high school and summer college. Okay? Let me just say this right here. And you're right. People do know people, whatever. But, when sports, if you go, it's very territorial when you're in competition. If like sort of like if you go on someone's logo and jump up and down on someone's logo, that's disrespecting that logo. People fight for that. Okay, sort of like when Theo ran to the star in Dallas and did that, and then he did the little star, and then he got tackled. If you should go on someone else's sideline and you're there and you're on the other team, yeah, it gets it's very competitive. So I can understand that competitiveness, you know. But and it gets a little aggressive. I hope that no one thought it would have escalated to that. So what I'm saying is there is some competitiveness, okay, and territorialness that goes with it, because they are competing, okay, and it happens in pro sports. It happens, and there's just certain things that you don't do. Now, if someone asks you to leave, I would have gave I like Carmelo would have given him some mouth, like, yo, you can't make me go nowhere, and I would and I would have just let him know that I'm not scared, you know, but I would grab my stuff, probably getting ready to leave, because I know that I don't want to get suspended, because if anything happens and the school investigate, and the school sees that I was there, and I was out of place, and that if a fight broke out, let's say the stabbing didn't happen. Let's say a fight broke out, okay, and they investigated, okay. How would that investigation go? Who would be in the wrong? You know, at that moment, they would have said that he was in the wrong because he shouldn't have been in that area. That's how it goes. That's how I believe it will go, and that's not me putting my adult spin on it. And I may be incorrect. As I'm going to leave that for you guys to interpret and respond to. But I just wanted to add that before you respond, and then anyone else can respond and
Let
call Cap
Adrian
or whatever you
go.
said.
Yeah,
And
I'd
then
like to get in the queue.
okay, go
Let
ahead. I want
Adrian
the
go.
no, Adrian. I want the gentleman because I cut that man off before he responded. Go ahead, sir.
Just a quick 30 seconds here. It's kind of jump ins on what you're saying, and that's why I brought it up. And again, chat. I don't know if you've been to the track meets or not, and Jonathan, you'll be able to attest to this. Like I said, my daughter is on a high school track team, and I never ran track. Right, I played football and basketball and shit like that. But what I'm saying to you is this: the way they sent these tets up, even though it's in the bleachers, and you're right, kids know each other from all schools all the time. They go to middle school together and they go to separate high schools. It happens all the time. We say hi to kids that we know that went to the middle school and now they're in high school, but they don't go on each other's tents. And the reason why I bring this up is because those tents, even though they're in the bleachers, it's the equivalent of their bench. I know it sounds crazy, but these track meets they take fucking forever. By the way, they start at 4 and go to like 8:30 at night. They fucking take forever. But that's what I'm trying to explain to you. And if the kid was on a track team himself, he would know that. Like I said, all the other kids' stuff's there. All the whole team. All their phones when they're out there running. All their shit's there. There's normally a team parent there, so I don't know what's going on in that situation. But like I'm saying, it's the equivalent of their bench. So if you go and sit underneath another team's tent, it's the equivalent of like going to sit on another team's bench in basketball. They'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing?" It's just not. You don't do it. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's kind of an unwritten rule. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, and that's why everyone mentions these tents because that's how track works. Their benches are in the stands. I know it sounds weird, but that's just how
Let
it
me
works.
ask that guy a question.
It's
Let me.
It,
Yeah,
it's
I'd like to get in the queue, Jonathan.
here, guys.
Crazy.
Jonathan, can I
What
please
me?
get in the queue?
I am one half of the debate the news true crime, which
Well, Mike, guys, what happened there? What happened with Adrian?
whoops,
Somebody
whoops.
must have muted her.
That's okay.
Hey, that was my fault. I was checking her profile. My bad.
Oh, Jay, yeah, follow me, Jay. I know you're not following me. You better follow me now. Okay, listen, guys. So I'm one half of the debate the news true crime. I love a good discussion. Hey, Joseph, are you up? So I love a good discussion, but you guys need a little facts, okay? So let me do this. Let me come in. Let me straighten out a few things. Let me kind of answer a couple questions that you're having, and then have a discussion once you actually know the facts. Because TC delivered the TC. Just like a reminder, if I ever like go away or something happens to me, please do not ask to be co-host because you deliver the news like you're a freaking attorney and not delivering the facts, dude. So no to you. Whew, that was crazy what you're doing. But here we go. Let's get here. So the question is, did Austin Metcalf threaten Anthony, right? Like I'm hearing you guys going back and forth. So let's just get this going right here. No verbal threats were documented. There were witnesses. Over 30 students and coaches reported no explicit threats. That means threats to harm or kill from Metcalf towards Anthony during their dispute, okay? Under the Memorial High School tent. The argument began when Metcalf asked Anthony to leave the team's reserve tent, leading to a verbal back and forth. I know you guys mentioned that, but I want to talk about the physical contact. And by the way, Jonathan Bing was spot on what he was saying regarding the any sports rivalry. Okay, so a teammate witness said Metcalf pushed or grabbed Anthony to urge him to leave after Anthony refused and warned, "Touch me and see what happens." Now, Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin brother, confirmed to police that Austin stood up, pushed Anthony to move him, and that escalated the situation. No witnesses reported Metcalf attempting to punch or strike Anthony beyond this contact. Now, what is the perception of threat? After the stabbing, Anthony told police he put his hands on me. I was protecting myself, suggesting he felt threatened by Metcalf's physical action. Witnesses noted Anthony challenged Metcalf further after the initial touch, saying, Punch me and see what happens before pulling a knife from his bag and stabbing Metcalf in the chest. So, what does this mean with witness observations? And then you guys can go on to your arguing. Unless you have any questions, I'll bring the facts, not the opinions. So, witness observations, teammates saw Anthony reach into his bag during the argument, issued warnings, but no one expected a weapon until the knife was drawn. Coaches and students described a quick escalation of verbal dispute, Metcalf's push or grab, and Anthony's immediate use of the knife. No accounts in the affidavit indicated Metcalf made threatening statements or gestures beyond the physical contact to remove Anthony. Again, I'm very happy to answer any other questions while you guys are talking. And I may be wrong. So if TC, if you could just answer this question. I know you don't know me very well, so I don't need a long answer. But did you mention the word deposition by any chance?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Go to it, you guys, and thank you. And we'll see
Go.
you.
No. 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 Don't go far. Don't go far.
Well, I'm
Don't
not
go
going
far.
far. I'm just going to get off mic,
No.
Starkey.
No. 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 I know you sensationalized a lot of stuff. So let's actually dive into the facts you claim to have. You mentioned that Metcalf uh, struck or at least put his hands on Anthony. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'm
Okay.
not under any kind of weird thing, but let me ask you this, Snarky, just so we're all on the same page. When you go to look for the news, when you are actually curating your news content, would you mind just sharing how you actually do that so I have an idea of where you're getting your news and what that looks like so that I can either respect it or think you're nuts? So please do that for me.
Yeah, it's just logic. I mean, I just use my common sense. That's how I generally get around in life, and it's kind of served me well lately.
That
But
wasn't
let's
my
get back
question.
to.
My question is what questions are you asking and what are you using? Because I know that I've got some facts right in front of me,
Well,
and I'm
yeah,
just
let's use your
wondering what you're
facts.
looking at.
Let's use your facts. Let's throw my facts out of the window. My facts don't care. Let's use your facts. How's that sound?
Good. By the way, Snarky, I don't argue with anyone, so we'll have a conversation. But the
Sure,
minute
let's
gets,
have a
I won't be
conversation.
escalating for anyone's delight.
Well, that's the cat's kind of out of the bag on that one. Didn't you kind of come after me talking about some? Hey, if I ever go away, you can never be co-host of Debate the
Oh
News,
my God!
True Crime.
Please,
I think the
Joseph, wake
toothpaste
up,
says out
Joseph.
of the
Don't let
tube
them.
there.
No way.
All
You
right,
can't
let's dive
deliver
into
news
these
like that.
facts. Let's
TC,
dive.
and not only that, but you're delivering news in front of a woman who actually knows the no, like no, you have to have more empathy when you're delivering the news. You deliver the news like you were an attorney. I wouldn't want that. I think that our show is curated to have way more respect for the victims and the families and no accusations. So yes, no, you would
I,
not
I,
fit as a host.
I
Okay,
have a
keep
lot.
going.
I have a lot of empathy for the victim. I think Anthony should not be behind bars right now. So my empathy for the victim is very pronounced. But that's
TC,
neither
real
here
quick,
nor
can
there.
I ask you a quick
Hold
question,
on, hold
TC?
on, hold on,
Quick,
hold
quick.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Okay,
on,
okay,
hold on,
okay,
hold
okay,
on,
okay.
hold on. Let's deal with her facts for a second. She mentioned, and I want to just be clear, Adrian, just so that we're all on the same page here. Did based on your facts, did did all Anthony stab Metcalf, or did Anthony pull the weapon out of his bag before or after Anthony put his hands on him?
Let's get those facts. Let me see. Hold on.
These are your facts, by the way. These aren't my facts.
Well, no,
While she's
I'm
doing
getting the
that, can I ask?
facts from what the witness. Oh, don't. Okay. So, what's the question again? Let's get that question down right. Did Anthony
Did
stab? Go ahead.
did Anthony pull the knife out before or after Anthony put his hand before or after Metcalf put his hands on Anthony?
Hold on. Let's see. Okay.
After.
So,
Come on.
according to the arrest of. Oh, sorry, Jonathan. If you want to take it, go ahead. Otherwise, I have something in front of me. So, okay, I'll just go. According to the arrest affidavit and the witnesses, of course, because we want to take their account into effect, the Anthony pulled the knife out after Austin Metcalf put his hands on him. So that's what they're saying happened, and that is a
So
Memorial High School teammate witnessed Anthony open his bag, saying, "Touch me and see what happens" during the
So okay,
verbal
okay,
dispute.
okay. All right. Thank you so much for that
You're
fact.
welcome.
So we're clear that Anthony pulled the knife out after Metcalf put his hands on him, correct? Is that correct, Adrian?
Yes, that is correct.
All
That's
right,
what it says here.
let me
Again,
ask let me
go
ask
ahead.
you a question, just dealing with the facts. When you put your hands on another individual who's not committing a crime, what is that called in the state of Texas?
Stand your ground.
No, 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 no. That's not stand your ground. I'm gonna ask the question again. I'm gonna ask the question again.
Okay, go ahead.
It's
Ask
called
it
If
again.
if you put your hands, if I walk up to you, and let's say
Assault.
you're in the grocery
Assault.
store. Hold on. Yeah, let her answer this, guys. Let's say I'm in the grocery store and I walk up to you, Adrian, and I say, hey, get out of the freezer section. You're supposed to be in the fresh fruit and produce.
Man,
Now I'm
don't
in
nobody want to hear
the
that shit, man. Shut
you
your
gotta
ugly.
come, buddy. And I take you and I shove you. What did I just commit?
Okay, so I'll answer that. So okay, so I'm told I have to read a disclaimer by my attorney, and I have a whole way of researching TC that's only for debate the news true crime. So I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. So just be careful on this. Okay, so nope, I need this. Hold on. Hold on. By the way, TC, there would be no arguing with me because I'm just delivering it. If I even am wrong, which could be, I am not expressing any opinions on this case. I don't know what truly happened, so
I'm not
there's no
asking for opinions.
arguing.
I'm asking for facts. I'm not asking for opinions. I'm
That's
not
fine. I
asking for
love
your
that.
opinion
No,
yet.
thank you. If someone puts their hands on you in Texas, pushes or grabs, whether you can legally defend yourself depends on the details.
No, no, no,
So
no,
the
no, no, no.
nature
Wait,
of
wait,
the
wait, wait,
con.
wait,
Oh,
wait, 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 wait.
okay,
Let's
go
just
ahead.
be clear on the question. I'm
Okay.
not asking what the permitted response is to the action. I'm asking what is that action called in the state of Texas? Not your opinion, based off of the information I provided you. I put my hands on you. It's an unwanted touch that I put my hands on you. You let me know already that you don't want me to touch you, and I actually touch you. Was an unwanted touch. What is that called in the state of Texas?
So that would be called self-defense.
No, it's not self-defense. I'm
no.
sorry, you're wrong.
Carmelo invited him to punch
Called
him and
battery.
touch
It's
him.
called battery.
Carmelo
It's a crime.
invited him to equal combat.
I don't care if it's a misdemeanor. I don't care if it's a felony. It's a crime. It's called battery. Okay. So
So
what you're at least admitting to is the fact that Anthony advised Anthony advised Metcalf that any provocation of putting his hands on Anthony, which is not wanted, would result in a response. We
That's
know
not
that
what he said.
Anthony did
That
that
is not what he
before.
said.
I'm sorry, Metcalf did that before Anthony pulled the knife out, which means you would have to conclude, Adrian, that the first crime ever committed was not committed by Anthony. It was committed by Metcalf. Would you agree?
Well,
No, bringing that knife to the school
Hey,
was a
Normo,
crime
why is Normo talking, man?
because we're giving information.
No, bro, he's just
All right.
talking to Kathy, man.
just looking at the fact.
You're
Okay,
not Kathy.
so for again, like I don't know what your point is. That I'm happy to get you facts. If you want to be fact checked, I am here for you all day long,
Okay,
24/7.
fact
If
check me.
you
What
want
is
to
the
argue
definition?
me, okay,
Wait,
so
fact check me. What's the definition of battery in Texas and what's the definition of assault in Texas?
okay, in Texas, the act of someone putting their hands on you in a harmful or offensive way is generally covered under the crime of assault, not battery.
Okay, and
Okay.
what's the definition of battery?
Of course, they
okay,
word made me something else.
assault.
Yeah, you know what, chat? I agree with you. If this is where the room, you have 155 people in the room, TC. If you
You're
think
Yeah.
that
fact checking. I'm
155
sorry.
people
No,
want
I
to
got,
deal
I
with
got,
this
I
or
got,
That's why I
I
do
wanted.
got.
they
That's
No,
why
want
I
to
no,
wanted
go
to
we're
ask
moving on.
deeper
TC a
We're
in the
moving.
question.
We're
story?
moving on.
So I'm
One
going to
second.
stop talking because I
TC,
don't think
you're
people are
No, we're
wrong.
listening
moving
to
on.
this
Yeah, we're moving
content.
on, guys. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Hold
Jonathan,
on,
can I go
Jonathan.
back?
No, 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 no,
There's
no, bro. No, we got no.
hold on. There's a fact and dispute,
No, we
Jonathan. We
have a
should be able to at
podcast.
least
We have
answer
a
this
live
question.
podcast being recorded right now.
Yeah, but TC, we're getting off base, TC.
No, we're
That's right.
not. Just
So,
because you
but
say we're
that's
I
why
got,
I
getting
I
want
got,
to
off
ask you a
I got,
question.
base.
Right?
I got.
Who's he?
Chad, let's
TC,
go.
can I ask you this question to bring us
So,
back here? I want to ask you a question to bring us back, just real quick, TC.
and
Real
then you're
quick.
gonna ask my question.
In your opinion, TC, since Karmelo Anthony himself was on a track team and I think they called him a track star, so he was a prominent figure on his track team. He had been to plenty of track meets. He knows how it works. Do you think or would it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna use your fucking lawyer talk. Whatever. Would it be reasonable to believe? Do you believe that Carmelo Anthony knew when he went over to sit underneath another team's tent, there was going to be a confrontation?
No, you cannot reasonably assume that he knew that there was going to be a future
When
confrontation.
I say confrontation, I mean that he knew that he was going to be asked to leave.
No, you cannot assume that he knew that he was going to be asked to leave. That would take a leap of faith to assume he knew what the intentions are of the other individuals. How do we know that the donut lady, that when she went to go sell donuts, weren't going to be asked to leave because people don't have some sort of moral argument against donuts?
Again, that's why I brought up the thing about when we're looking at track meets and we're like, oh, it's just a track meet. It's a meet. It's not really a game. You got to understand the whole meet is technically the game. So even
So,
though it lasts for
so
four,
We're not
that's
hold on,
circling
fine.
hold on,
back to
listen,
that.
please let me
We're
land
not
here. Let me land.
circling back
Let
to
me
that
land.
for the 15th
Let me
time.
land. Even though it goes from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until eight
Fine,
o'clock
I'll
at
concede
night,
that. We don't have
listen
to
to
like
me,
dive into
please.
that. We can concede
Li-
that. I'll concede that
listen.
point. I'll concede that Anthony knew that he was sitting under a different team's tent, and there's the potential that somebody would have a problem with that. I can concede that.
That's why I
What's the
made.
point?
That's why I made the equivalent that those tents are like those teams' benches.
Yeah, but that's not illegal though.
That's
So,
not
but again,
right.
but under
Like,
in any sports competition, if you go sit on another team's bench, you know that someone's going to ask you to leave. So if Anthony went there,
no, they
he
are
knew
not.
he
They're
knew
not
that
the same,
No, they
bro.
are. Where are you
if you're
from?
telling me that if you're playing basketball and you go sit on another
We're
team's
not
bench, that
talking
means that
about basketball.
Going back to basketball, we're talking about track
those
meets.
tents are like their benches.
Track meets are different.
No, they're not.
False
They are
equivalent.
different. You said you didn't run track.
No, my daughter's on the track team in
Your
high school.
daughter
Bro,
didn't
I
run
ran
track.
track.
I go to. I'm
Yeah,
telling
you
you right now.
go. You attend.
Well,
I
Mike,
sit
It's
Mike,
a
behind.
big
I don't
I
know.
know
difference.
these.
I
Yes, I
don't know
sit
if
behind.
what you're describing,
I
Mike,
sit
is
Because you
behind. Hold on,
anything that's
described
like
it.
please, guys. I don't want
Go
to talk
ahead,
over you.
TC
Hold
or
on.
yeah,
Mike.
Mike,
I
I
sit
don't
behind
know if
all of
what you're
these.
describing. I get it. Like I don't want to dispute this. Like we get
I
it, bro.
sit there
Like
for hours and watch how these
fine,
kids
they
operate.
he was under the wrong tent. We don't have to dispute that. I'm asking you, Mike, did Metcalf or Anthony commit the first crime?
Well, again, I guess you're going to go with Metcalf. I guess by
No, don't go with what I'm gonna go by. I'm asking you. It's
look, you're
it's
going to bring the law in here, and I get it. The law is interpreted. It can
Because
be.
the law,
but
can
that's
the
a
law
very important but that's a very important
Mike,
component.
he's not an attorney though.
No, I
But
know, but
that's a
I know.
very
But
important component to
he
what
might
we're
know more about
talking
the law than
about,
I do.
Mike. You can't just
Listen,
poo-poo that and say, "Oh, he was under the wrong tent." That gave Anthony the right to assault him. That did not give
There
Anthony
was
the right. I
nothing
mean,
illegal about
Metcalf.
that.
That didn't give Metcalf the right to assault him because he was under the wrong tent. He's not the law. He's not a police officer. He didn't have the moral duty to remove Anthony. What he engaged in was a crime of assault against Anthony. That's a fact. And when you
okay.
factor that
All
in,
right.
it changes the perspective of the person being assaulted because now it's the equivalent of you pushing a granny to the ground and the granny got a Glock 9 on her hip.
Oh God. Okay, let's not push
Well, I'm
grannies.
glad
Oh
you brought that
wow.
up because that
So
actually happened.
let me ask the room. I
Jonathan,
want to
can I say
incorporate two
something
more
really quick
voices
about
into the conversation. And Jonathan mentioned this earlier, and I kind of wanted to go back to that in as far as public perception, right? How people are like the whole GoFundMe that people are raising for Carmelo's defense. People are up in arms about that, you guys. Like they are pissed. They're like, why is this murderer? Why are people giving money to this murderer? And they see absolutely everything wrong with people that want to give to help with his defense, right? But these same people, some of these same people, probably gave money to George Zimmerman. Probably gave money, or probably believed the Menendez brothers should go home because they were taunted and abused by their parents, and killing them was justified. Do we see a double standard here, or is it just
Wh-
me?
Why does a millionaire need help raising money for a defense? I'm trying to understand.
Well, you're jumping too far. I mean, it's you know, you're saying because somebody else did something. I've never given money to anybody that's done any kind of crime or anything. So you're generalizing there.
I'm
And one
posing
thing
a question to the room. So I was talking about
okay,
what's been going on social media. So you can speak to that.
right. And it just shouldn't be that people should be giving to people for a crime that has been committed.
Who said he
And
committed
I
a
want to
crime?
go
It's
back.
not a
I
crime,
want to go
lady.
back to just one second. When
It's not
Carmelo
a crime. He didn't commit a crime.
out, that's when Anthony touched him, and then that's when the knife came out. Okay, pushed him. He pushed him, according to a
He
couple of the
assaulted
witnesses.
him. He assaulted him.
He
He pushed
threatened him. He threatened him first. He threatened him, then he assaulted him.
like the who was it that said that?
I was wrong.
He
It's been
won't.
Texas doesn't have
no
battery. They have assault. I was wrong.
right. I was exactly, but if you wanted to look at the national definition, but we don't have battery here. It's just all assault.
Yo,
No,
But
props.
but one individual put their hands on another individual, and the individual who had the
right,
hands put on him
said touch
retaliated.
me. He taunted him and said, "Touch me and find out." So he
He
just
taunted
Jonathan,
taunted
can
him
him.
I
and
provide a
did he
little bit
warn
of
him?
context for a person who is in
No,
Frisco
He said,
ISD,
that's a
please?
warning.
"Out,
That's a warning.
It's a
touch me,
warning.
find
And he
out."
didn't have to give him that.
When
It's a
kids are
warning.
that way, when kids say something to you, like they're kids, and they're gonna say, "Oh,
17.
oh, don't touch me, don't touch me."
Yeah, but he gave a
Mom,
warning.
That's
Okay.
the whole point.
Can I get a little bit of clarity for a second? Are we talking about a
Can
kid
I
or Carmelo
can
Anthony?
I
I'm
give a
asking.
little context for a person who is in
The kid
Frisco
gave a
ISD,
it's
warning.
a
please?
kid.
It's a kid. They were.
He's
It was
they're
an
all kids.
incident at Frisco High School. I mean in Frisco, Texas, at a track meet. I believe it was a
Okay,
track
so this
meet.
is not Carmelo
A
Anthony
track
to be
No,
track
ma'am.
meet
crystal
that
clear,
was
Can
and
I
that's what
ask
I
a
Yo,
kept
question.
asking.
But
question?
one
all day.
second,
Thank
hey
you.
guys, one second. Kathy was still talking, so we're
Sorry
gonna
about
let
that.
her finish, and then we'll move the mic around.
It was an all-day track meet for all 9 high schools in Frisco ISD. That the tents were all around the stadium. They were kind of a little bit far apart, all around the stadium. Carmelo's tent was exactly on the opposite side, on the home side. The Memorial's tent was on the visitors side, and this happened at 10:15 in the morning. Okay, and it was an all-day track meet that was going on at one of the stadiums at one of the school. There's quite a few stadiums up there. Each school, I think, has their own stadium. It's a very, very wealthy area, you know and so it's just a sad situation. I think it's sad for everybody. Not one life was lost. I think 2 lives were lost.
What
Okay.
Jonathan,
And it's
time was the tent set up?
Jonathan, can I please
simply
provide a little bit of context for a
I
person who is in Frisco ISD?
what I don't like is the first thing I saw on social media was, "I bet he doesn't have a father. I bet he doesn't have a father." Yeah, his parents were married 17 years. They were from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The father moved up here. He worked as a credit manager at the car dealerships, and I don't they never said what his mother
What,
did,
what does
but
that
he's
matter?
got 3 sisters. And he came from a quote unquote normal family: mom, dad, siblings, living in a house, going to school, had a little job, doing athlete. He was a good student. It was all apple
That's
pie,
great.
so it wasn't like that made me
Right?
mad.
Why does that matter?
She hit all the
Why does
stereotypes.
that matter if the child pushed
Well,
another child?
wasn't like all the stereotypes that they said. "I bet he doesn't have a
Well, who
dad."
cares about the
One of them.
No,
stereotype?
he did have a dad.
She
He
was
did
actually
have a
she actually
regular.
dispelled. She said what she saw on
Yeah,
social media, and he did have both
I know.
parents, a two-parent
said,
What does
household.
that matter?
well, I bet he didn't have a dad. It's all everybody kept saying at first. Well, that wasn't true either. Everybody's jumping to conclusions of stereotyping other people, and
So,
that's just
so
wrong. Our whole society
Kathy,
stop
if I assault you, do I get to claim to be the victim?
TC,
I'm just asking her.
If you get
no,
stabbed in the
we
heart, I
we're
would say
spreading the
so.
mic
Go ahead, spread it. I'm just asking her a
about
question.
because we're not
Can
doing this
I've
one-on-one
been
thing again.
asking
We're
to
not doing
provide a
that.
little bit of context.
you have crazy since I've been gone. I haven't been on here for ages, and I've been one of the very first ones for Million Marathon way back in December of 2020 when all this started. So, TC, you know me from through the years on Debate the News and Million Marathon. You know me,
Oh,
and It's
And how is that
you're not
relevant?
gonna be pulling that crap.
We appreciate both of
How
you.
do,
Go ahead, Scoops.
Hey, Jonathan,
Is
can
there a
you
thing
get
of,
our ass
and
over
this is
here?
just a question, a reasonable
Hold on,
amount
Queen.
of force on the assault? And secondly, premeditative. If you're bringing the knife to the track meet, I ran track all through college and high school, and I never brought a knife to a track meet. Are those things something that's going to come into play?
what high school did you go to?
The fact you brought a knife
Yes.
to the track
Yes.
What
meet ahead of
neighborhood did you
time,
live in?
you didn't. You might have used more than the amount of reasonable amount of force. Uh, you're supposed to. I guess after he pushes you, I guess the next thing would be a stick or a pipe, not a
Does it
knife.
matter if he had a knife with him every day,
Legally,
not just a track
does
meet?
anyone know? Oh,
This
who
is
was
no
that?
Scoop.
Yes.
That's
Yes. The force
Scoop.
Is
That's
has to be
Scoop.
Jonathan?
reasonably
Every
necessary.
time he
Go ahead,
brings it to
Jonathan.
school, that's another
Oh,
crime he
okay. So
committed.
maybe nobody else in the whole campus brings knives to school. What if the whole
And
campus
Separate
brings
question.
knives?
He's the one that stabbed the boy in the heart and made it
be
Self
explode.
defense.
careful.
Yeah, self defense. That's what he
No,
did.
it doesn't meet the
Yeah, it was
criteria
self
for
defense, bro.
self-defense. He
It was self
escalated. No,
defense. It
no,
was
you
self
don't meet the
defense.
criteria here.
It
He
was self. You
escalated to
weren't there, and
deadly
I wasn't
force.
there. You
No, but
weren't there.
we know the facts of the case.
You weren't there. You weren't
I
there.
don't
It was
have to
self
be there
defense.
to know the fact. The judge
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
be
Hey,
there
yeah.
Jonathan
either.
It sound
speaking.
like
The
Jonathan
same
speaking.
thing
Hey,
and get killed, and they got it off on a stand your ground. I don't know what happened here, so I don't know what was the true provocation, and that's why they usually have a hearing to see whether or not it qualifies for a stand your ground case. So that's the tricky
Jonathan,
part
can I
about
please provide clarity?
you don't know. Um, but once again, we don't know, man. If that's the answer. You talking about force? In my state, you're going to jail. Period. Okay. We're under the castle doctrine. Okay, you're going to jail. Period. That's it. So, but in Texas, it's stand your ground, and there's a good chance that he can get off if that is applied the way that they have. I've seen it applied in the past.
Jonathan, do you think reasonable, what a reasonable person would do is different? Like that law would be applied to an adult. Would that be different from a child acting reasonably?
He's being charged as an
Once
adult.
again, guys, I don't know where I stand on this case. I really don't. But I would say this right here: taking this case, getting rid of this case, just looking at previous cases of stand your ground. I've seen people get killed for less and successfully use stand your ground. So I don't know once again what led up to this. I don't. So I once again I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and that's why I haven't really um, jumped on one side or the other.
Jonathan,
Because
can I?
I don't
I
have the
want.
details.
I wanted to mention one thing here, and it kind of goes back to TC's point. In the chat, I put it up there earlier, but I'll go ahead and post it again just so you people don't have to scroll up. There, just click on this link, and it's a you fast forward to 35 seconds into the. It's only a minute video, but fast forward to 35 seconds. This was when a guy, I think his name was Martise McGlockton. Um, so it's just fast forward to 35 seconds. You'll see the situation. The one dude's yelling at the guy's wife in the parking lot, and the guy Martise comes out and shoves the dude to the ground, and the dude pulls out the gun and shoots him in the chest, and Martise dies. Right. So and then again, it was
I
a white.
remember that. I remember that.
The white dude was the one that got shoved to the ground, and Martise is a black guy, and the white dude got 20 years. Now they're adults. I don't know if it's a different story, but whatever. There's obviously details and everything. But again, he was shoved to the ground and he shot him, killed him, and the white dude was yelling at the guy's wife. But anyway, the guy got 20 years.
And the reason he tried to use stand your ground, and I remember that case. Okay, I tell you, I got a lot of useless shit in my head. The reason he got 20
Don't
years,
we all? Don't we
yeah,
all?
the reason he was not able to use stand your ground is because he went over to the man's wife and started messing with her because she was parked in a handicap parking or something like that.
Yeah, it was
And
something about parking. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I remember the case. I read all this shit, and so, and then I think one of the kids told him that what was happening, and he went out there. He pushed the man away from his wife, and he's protecting his wife. So the black guy was actually standing his ground.
Right. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't provoke the situation.
And
Yeah, that's what happened.
that's the potential risk for Anthony is the prosecution is going to make the argument that Anthony provoked um, Metcalf to put his hands on him, which I'm sure the defense can use arguments to create reasonable doubt against that argument. But that's what is the prosecution. That's probably the best case that the prosecution has is that Anthony provoked Metcalf to put his hands on
There's
him.
two or three
Well,
problems,
that's why he's
Jonathan.
bringing up
Can I
the.
wait again a second? I just want to mention some part.
No, listen. When Anthony went over there, he knew as a track athlete, he was going to be asked to leave, and so he knew
You
when he
don't
said
know
no.
what
No,
he
he
knew,
Ain't
man. You don't know
nobody
what he
didn't.
know that
knew.
there.
He's like,
What the hell's
That's
wrong
not
with
even
y'all?
what
Why are you
happened.
trying to throw somebody out in the rain?
I've
he
Why
been
the
knew
hell would he try
asking
to
he
to
throw
was
him out in the
speak.
rain?
I've been
That's
asking
not
to
even what
speak
happened.
know that.
because
This
I
is the
am
first
in the
first
Frisco
thing before you say
ISD,
no. If you go to
and
where another team is, you're going to be
I
asked
don't
to
know
leave.
if they can hear me or
He
not.
immediately says no. He's like, no, make me. Well, dude, you
I don't
knew
think
you were
they
going
can
to be
hear
asked to leave.
Clubhouse.
You knew that.
Yeah, because
Right. That's
if
where
you're
the
in
dicing
Frisco
comes in.
ISD, you know that like they all sit in
Dude,
each
you guys might not
other's
understand.
tents. Like that's the culture that they have.
We under
So
we
him
can
going to
y'all
see
see
to
my
the other
screen?
tent
That's what
is not an
No,
abnormal.
we
Can I
can't see
speak
it.
for a second? Can I
Exactly.
come up from what Jonathan
That's
said?
why this other guy talking about his daughters on the track team is crazy.
Can, can I speak
But
for a second?
that's
I
even
just
a
want to say something
sidebar.
that he didn't.
The damn
He didn't
wickedness to
say
want to push that man out in the
that's a
rain.
little bit
They're
childish.
just gonna run past that. But
Tent
white folks
in
got double
other
standards
track
all the
teams,
Nah,
time.
but that's not
and
even
no
what they
one
saying that
has ever
what was
told me
happening.
in the
You know what I'm
manner
saying?
that this has
So it
happened
doesn't make
to
any sense.
leave.
Carmelo was
They
sitting on his
Let,
phone.
never.
Carmelo was sitting under
So
the
were
tent
you
under his
invited
phone, and
to
then
the
the
tent?
twins came
No,
under the
I
tent
was not.
and went right over
So
to
what
him and
happened
started
over there,
messing with
not
him.
knowing nobody, just
You
rubbing
know what I'm
So let me
saying?
shoulders?
And
give you
that's how
some
the whole
law.
thing
You guys
happened.
notice he
yeah.
Let
said
me give you a little bit of law and facts.
that nobody
Law
ever told me in
fact number one.
Elmo, you a
uh,
liar. You ain't got no damn facts to give
So a
out.
fact.
Like if I was asked to leave a tent, it was probably from some official of some sort. It was never from an athlete that approached you in that manner and said, leave the tent in that manner. No, I
Yeah,
went
but if
at
somebody has
Penn
to ask you to
Relays
leave,
And
mean you
she
shouldn't have been
lands.
there.
Why are you cutting her
again
off?
at Penn Relays where it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Went in the whole Jamaican tent and eating the golden crust, and no one asked you to leave. And especially when it's raining. If you've ever been at a track meet when it starts pouring down, everybody's scattering to any tent to get shelter, and you're welcome to be under those tent because everybody knows you're just trying to stay warm and get out of the weather. And then once the rain subsides, you walk away. No one has ever, like, never in that manner said, "Get out of my tent,"
okay.
or in a manner that makes you feel like, "Oh my gosh, like somebody's about to assault me." That has never
Okay.
happened.
I gotta ask you a
And
question.
people
What do
need
you know
to
about IFD?
understand the culture of those
Please.
schools.
That
Like, I think when people understand that culture,
What? I
it's
won
all gonna
one
Hey,
make sense.
in college. So, boom.
oh my
That's
god.
real,
not it,
real
Queen.
quick, I
It's
don't think
just
they can hear us over
disingenuous.
here. Hold on a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, we got our own thing over here in Clubhouse going on.
I'm
Yo,
gonna
We
message
we
JB. Hold
have
on.
we have something similar in Texas
yeah, you
called
guys have
Texas
Texas, yeah,
Relays.
yeah, the Texas relays,
We
yep.
have Texas
I've
Relays, and
competed
I'm
at Texas
Brandon
Relays
three.
before too.
Hello, me too. Hey, girl. But if y'all can see my screen, so one of the things is, and I hate to go back to this tent thing, but since we're here, the tents aren't big enough to house everyone on that track team, y'all. With your cleat, you got your bag, right? You got your warm-ups in there, you got your cleats, you got your cross trainers. For those of us on relays, we had practice batons, right? You got your tape if you long jumping, triple jumping, or high jumping. You got your athletic tape. You got a whole duffel bag. If y'all can't see my screen, you'll see that not all of the bags are under those two tents, and look how close they are. There is absolutely intermingling beyond between teams, guys. It is not like
Absolutely.
being on a basketball bench.
Exactly.
They are
Exactly.
all like everyone's goods cannot fit under the tent along with the track team. Matter of fact, you got maybe three relays, probably got the same people. That may be 12 people, or yeah, let's go with 12. Okay, then you got your different heats. You got the people running the open 100, the open 200, the open 400, the 1600, the mile relay. Then you got your triple jumpers, your high jumpers, your long jumpers. Then you got your shot put, you got your discus, and that's just women. Okay, you got your javelin.
Hey, don't forget the cathletes.
Okay, and all of them ain't fitting up under that little bitty ass tent.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And not only that, everybody's trying to find their own space and time to get their mind right. They scattered all over the damn place. Everybody ain't in no same one area. The person getting ready for the 100 is over there. The person for the 800, he doing whatever the hell he doing. Everybody's everywhere, man. And people compete. They don't go to compete and go to war and kill each other. But you give each other respect, man. Somebody walk up on your space in any sport and getting all in your face, like, man, give me some space. Get up off of me. The hell you doing, man? What's wrong with you? We competing, but damn it, you don't lose your damn mind out here while we're competing. You know, if you put your hands on me, I'll put my hands back on you. You already in a competitive spirit. You walking up on me, grabbing my bag, telling me to all that aggressive nonsense that we've seen over and over and over. And usually, the stand your ground plays against the black folks to where it's like, oh, I was just scared because you had your music up loud, so I just shot everybody. And then they get off for that. Come on, man. Don't act like we don't know what we're looking at and living through here. And try, oh, it was you under his tent. My daughter, and it's just like, man, come on, man. And you got 9 different schools out there. And it's important to know, okay, what did she say? It's like a retenting or a reserve tent
No,
was
no.
was
Let me.
mentioned.
Can
And it
I
was
please
also, let me
provide?
just say this, because at the point when the tents even got set up, somebody said it was 10:15 in the morning. And also there was part of the story where he had his shoes, his bag was over there already. And what all that matters. So coming to all this judgment, assuming he's a murderer. Oh, he did the crime. When you know even the report says they pushed him and he's letting them know, look, man, at least once or twice, don't do this, man. Get up off of me. Give me some space. Don't come with all that energy. And then he still puts his hands on him before it ever escalated to the point. I done told you, man, that look, back up off me. You done already assaulted me. And it goes, escalates just that quick because they coming at him that's just that quick. So he like, look, man, I done told you. And he warned them. He gave him, let him know the law. Let him know everything. It's not going to go well for you. You keep pushing up on me. And he pushed up on him and he defended himself to the
Can I
So,
please
definition.
Jonathan,
provide?
And
Can
when
I
you
hang on a
have a
please
second.
chance, I'd like to speak. So
Jonathan,
add me to
Can
the
I,
Carmelo
conversation
didn't
too.
say don't
There's a
touch me
lady.
Jonathan?
or
There's a
back
lady. I'll
off.
step all over. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I'm zoned for Frisco ISD Reedy High School. And let's just be clear, like the tents are set up, yes, but the culture of Frisco ISD, everyone goes to everyone's tent. So him being at the other school's tent is not something that is new. Like that's the culture they have, right? Because all the athletes just commingle with each other, right? And I don't know why everyone is asking why he was at that tent, but we are not asking that the twins are not truckers. Like they're football athletes. Like, why are they not being asked, why were you there? Why are we pinging up on one person to ask that, oh, why
Wait,
was
say
he
that
at
again,
that
ma'am.
tent?
They don't run track.
No, Austin runs track and is
Can,
also on the football team. The
His
brother was
twin
there to
okay.
brother,
watch.
the brother did
Hold
not
on.
run
This
Yeah, the
track.
woman
brother
was
was there
But
to
speaking.
watch,
She's
but
Wait,
he
wait,
wasn't
from
wait.
the
Let
running.
her
district.
clarify, guys.
She's from the district. I was asking her.
okay, again, one of them never ran track. It was a football athlete. Why are they not asking them why wasn't he there? Why was he there? It's just that the if you know of Frisco ISD, you know the culture is everyone goes to everyone's tent. And let's just be clear, with Frisco ISD, black people are very small, like very little. So I'm not surprised if he went to that tent, if there was another black kid that runs track in that school and they know each other. It's very normal. It's such a normal thing. And I know people are saying, oh, why did he bring a knife to school? It was not a school. It was out of the school's facility. Like, I think a lot of people just go and stuff without even knowing like Frisco ISD's culture in itself. Frisco ISD as well is known for all this racial things because we are not, a lot of us are not there. Like, we don't have, it's just little of us there. So I think people also need to understand. I can understand that. I mean, if it becomes a big thing, people are not going to understand the culture. They're just going to go off facts. But if you ask anybody that goes to Frisco ISD, they will tell you, like, other student being on another tent, that's very normal. Very, very normal.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am. Thank you for
But
that
these two
too.
had
I,
history.
I'm sorry. I don't think any of that has to do with this case. This is not about where Carmelo was sitting
I
or
hear
what
you,
tent.
Adrian.
This is about the interaction between Carmelo and Austin. Carmelo said to him, Austin said, move or whatever he said. We got to get from the police reports, which are published. You can go read them. Carmelo said, touch me and find out. And then he said, punch me. Both of those, the prosecution will argue, were invitations to equal combat.
Who
The
invited the
Austin then put his
Austin
hands.
kid to even
It's crazy.
approach?
I'm going to finish this. Austin then put his hands, according to his brother, he put his hands
One second,
in
one second, sir.
in
One
whose
second,
arm
sir.
he
One
died. You
second,
can
sir.
dispute my
Listen to
facts in a
me. One
second.
second, sir. Listen to me, guys. Please don't interrupt anyone. I don't care, guys. I don't care who it is. If someone interrupts someone because they said something they don't like, drop them. All right, because it's not your space. You don't curate the goddamn content here. All right. He's here. He has whoever's speaking at the time. He, she, whatever, has just as much right to put their perspective out there as you. Don't ever open up on our stage and do that shit again. This is not your stage to try to curate the content. You can respond to it. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. So, and I kept talking because I didn't realize it was you. I wasn't looking at the screen. So, Austin says move. Carmelo says touch me and find out. Austin, according to his brother, in whose arms he bled to death out of his heart, which goes like a fountain. According to his brother Hunter, who may be telling the truth, may be lying, Austin touched the kid's backpack. Then Carmelo, after saying touch me and find out, says punch me.
can
This
y'all
is in
hear
the
me?
police record. Excuse me. This is an invitation to equal combat. Now, once the two boys are doing what they're doing, and of course boys fight all the time, Carmelo does loses his self-defense acquittal possibility by escalating to deadly force. There is no question that Austin was offering deadly force. The place was surrounded by witnesses. A whole bunch of people saw it. So again, Carmelo, I would say, is going to cop a plea. By the way, they're under school auspices, and it's even when they're at the track meet. They're under school supervision in loco parentis, and therefore Carmelo's committing a crime by bringing that deadly weapon to school. I predict that this will go to he'll take a plea, go for the second degree murder, and take his 5 to 20 years. That's my prediction.
Okay.
It's
I
like
like
you
that.
didn't hear a word that woman just said, who happens to be from the district. Like, you just wanted to get out what you wanted to get out so bad that it just like flew over your head. And that's the part that's amazing to me. Shout out to the woman again who was from the school district that said this was not on school grounds, that said that this is a normal culture that they go into each other tents. And it's like, I don't understand why it's so difficult. Well, I do understand. I actually do. And it's sad. It's really sad how people could just stay on code and have no understanding or have no vision and can't see that this young man was sitting down under a tent, was approached by 262, 255-pound young men, and where he stands at 5'9", 155 pounds, and they telling him to get up out of here. Instead of saying, okay, if you don't want him here, find someone that has the authority to move him, because they have no authority over him. I land.
I'm
You
sorry,
know,
Jonathan.
Adrian, did
The
especially
you want to
point
say?
what
about
Yes,
also
hang on
got.
a
yes,
second.
yes.
Go ahead,
Hang
Thank
on
Beth.
a
you,
second.
thank you.
This is a school. I want to respond to
Can we
Jonathan.
pass
This
the
was a
mic
school
around?
track meet. they're under the auspices of the school.
You
That's
know
number
what? You know
one.
what? Excuse me. I'm
The
just going to
the
interrupt you. My
rest of
name's Adrian Barker. Just give me a second
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm
on
going to tell
Adrian.
well, if
you
you're not a
what the
mod, I'm not sure
witnesses
why you're
said,
interrupting.
okay? Because I think this is important. So there were at least 14 witnesses that described the tent as just for memorial athletes. I get what maybe happens in your backyard or in your school system, but let's go by facts, okay? The memorial teammate said Anthony was in the Memorial High School team tent, was asked to leave. We know that, right? But then you guys are going back and forth talking about like the culture of the tent. Well, in this case, what's happened is the brother confirmed it was a team's tent. There were about 12 witnesses that were teammates that said this tent was for the gear and all everything for Memorial High School students. Two coaches also confirmed it was a Memorial team tent for team designation reserved for Memorial athletes to rest and store their gear. About 10 students noted Anthony was in the Memorial tent. So everyone said this is a team tent. Now, someone brought up something that was not a fact. Someone said that the bag was already in the tent. And maybe who said that? If you are you willing to share, raise your hand and say
No,
who
I
said
didn't.
it.
I didn't say that. What I said was that he had his stuff already in that area before this thing escalated to all of that. That's what I said. So
Okay, so
we'll see if the
he brought
facts.
his
We'll
bags
see
in.
if the
Okay,
facts
excuse me.
pan out
It's
to be
okay.
that way.
Okay.
I know
Okay,
it's
he
okay.
brought his bag. Okay, that's fine. He brought his bags into the tent. I actually wasn't alluding to that. I thought someone said that maybe he had left his bags in there, but I'll just say he did not do that. There's no report that he had his bag in there and he walked into the tent to like get the bag that he left there. That is not true. Again, you guys, when you're talking about this and you're thinking to yourself, well, wait, is there a question of this? What did the witnesses say? There were people around. I will deliver you the facts and then argue the facts because you guys are arguing things that like I don't want to be judgy, but like just because one school system says one thing, this is clearly from the news. So I'm going to land my plane. I am here for a little bit longer as your resident fact checker. So chat, use me if you need me.
I
Thank
have a
you.
question for
And
you, resident
I
fact
also
checker.
want to
I have a question
respond.
for the resident fact checker. Let me ask you this:
Uh,
the tent we're
Wait,
talking
wait. Tell
about.
me your name, sir. Tell me your name
My
so I
name is
have it.
Remus. My name is Remus.
Hi, Remus. I'm Adrian. Go ahead.
Hi, Adrian. Thank you for bringing us the facts. And I appreciate the testimony of all of those from that one high school. I can't wait for the case to unfold so we can hear the testimony of, obviously, there were other people there than other just that one high school. But back to the facts. And you're talking about this tent. We've heard talking about what a tent is like a tent where there's no walls. There's like a tent where you just pop it up. And so, what is the tent? Can you just define for us so we know? Was it the kind of tent you got to zip it down and walk into it like a whole little area
No,
that's
it's a regular
You
tent.
gotta
no,
come to
I don't know what
chatter,
regular tent means.
sweet.
It's
Come to
What
like a
what was
chatter.
this tent that because you're talking
It's like
about
a
this stuff?
tailgate tent,
Hold on,
hun.
let me
It
finish the
has like
question.
the
Let me just
six
finish the
different stakes,
question.
and it has like a
Let me
canvas
just
over the
finish the
top of it.
question, please. Let me finish the question so I can get an answer from the fact checker here. The
I
person that knows.
explained it to you.
Hold on. I'm talking to the fact lady. Come on now. We got to keep some order. And so I'm asking her this tent that
Did you
he.
not hear what Jonathan
Hold,
just said?
hold on for a minute. What I did not. I'm trying to ask this question. All I'm saying is
Yeah, so the
I'm
Lord said no.
I'm trying to.
Anybody got any other questions?
Wow. So we can't. I can't
Okay.
get an understanding of what this tent. You said that his stuff was inside the
He was
tent.
telling you what the tent was.
No, what?
It's
I
an
didn't hear.
open air
I
tent,
couldn't hear with
sweet.
three people. Okay, it's
Okay, it's an
open air.
open air. It's an
Okay,
open air tent, a
It's not
regular
a
tent.
it's not an open air
I just
tent.
wanted to
It
be.
doesn't have walls. That's what I'm
Hold
It's a
saying.
on
damn
for
pop
No
up tent.
golly.
It's
walls.
a pop
Okay, so
up
that's what I'm saying. That's why
tent.
I'm trying to ask the
It's
question.
more
We
like
got
it's
one
more like the
person
vision
saying
of a
it's an
canopy,
open air
guys.
tent, another person
That's correct.
a canopy. Okay, so now
Them good. Go ahead, sweet. Hurry up and land. Go.
Let me say something else.
Get it out.
No,
Dang.
no, no, Scoops. Hold on. We gotta let
Well,
him finish.
nobody was talking.
There's a delay on CH. Is he still there? Remus?
yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
here. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Uh, oh, we hear you now.
I
Go
was
ahead.
saying, how do you define this inside the tent in an open air area? Is it like straight down from the open air to upside part of the tent and this little? I mean,
There were
all of
no
that
walls.
matters.
There were no walls
All,
on it. It was a
all of
roof to
that
keep the
matters. So
rain
now
out.
move your stuff over 2 inches or 1 foot because you're underneath this tent. Come on, man. What are you
He's
saying?
saying go to your own tent. That's what they were saying.
Well, go to your room tent.
Go to your own tent. Yeah, each team had a
Go to
tent.
your own tent, bro.
Correct.
Again, the details will come out. Okay, we don't know all of the facts. That's why you have
I just
trials.
gave you
So
some
just understand.
But
facts.
you're
No, bro,
asking a
bro.
question and people are answering it, and then you're telling
Hold on.
them
No,
that what
no,
they're saying
that's not
isn't
true.
correct. Well, let me
Because I
explain
asked the
it.
question.
Listen, I'm not doing that.
Doing
I'm
what?
not. Okay. I'm trying to explain it to you. There are bleachers like in a stadium. If you come to Chatter, you could actually see it. I have it on the screen, or I will have it on the screen if you
It's
can't
there.
see it.
It's
It's
up.
still there.
Yep.
So it is there are bleachers, right? And there are pop-up tents on those bleachers where they can house their bags, their track bags, and sometimes themselves. But it is not big enough to fit an entire track team and their personal belongings.
So
So
when they say
what
it
I
was
have on the
in the tent,
screen.
when they say
Okay, go
it's
ahead.
in, help me understand. When they say his stuff was in the tent, how do you get in a tent?
Under, not in.
Oh,
Under the
that's
under.
different.
Under the
That's
tent.
different. Okay, that's different. It was under this area of this open air
Oh,
thing on the
Jesus.
bleachers. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's
His
take a
stuff was
short
in the
flight.
wrong spot on
That's
the
what.
Nobody's
bleachers.
saying it was in the
Okay,
wrong
got it.
spot. Nobody's saying that.
I said that, bro. I said that. Prove it. Prove me that was wrong. What are you saying? It was underneath.
Yeah.
What are you saying, man? When did the tent go up? That matters. Because I heard that
No,
his stuff was put somewhere and then he came back to his stuff. And so all of this matters, is what I'm trying to
I
say.
haven't seen any
no,
of
Because
we,
he's
that
we've
trying to
before,
make
already
it.
so I
litigated the
think
tent.
somebody made
Like
that up.
Well, I don't
we've
think
done
I don't
that.
think the case is
I
over
would
yet.
suggest going on Google since you're not coming on Chatter. They actually have pictures. If you Google it, you can Google the track meet, and it'll show you the tents, the bleachers, and how it is set up. So that will help you understand what it was like. All the students cannot fit under the tent. All of their belongings and the students would not be able to fit under that tent. It is not designed that way. They
It's
just
it.
can't. You can't have boys and girls. And then on top of that, you got girls there, especially if it was a co-ed track meet, right? So there are the other thing. I mean, and that's speculation, but the kid was under a tent that was not his team's tent.
But check. Can we speak about the fact that the woman over there on CH mentioned that only one of the brothers was actually on the track team. Is there any validity to that? And I was trying to ask you that
That,
inside the chat earlier.
Adrian, do you know?
okay, I can address for that. That's not
Oh,
true.
Kathy. Okay.
Uh, both of the one guy threw the javelin, and the other one was a shot putter. So both the two brothers were they didn't run the track, but they did javelin and shot putting. Each one of them did one of them. I don't know which one did which. I'm confused on that. But
Can you post the source
they
of that?
did
Because I didn't see that anywhere.
they both were there. That's why they were out of school, because this was a school day, but they went with their team to this big track meet that they had all day long with all the schools in the school district.
It
Okay,
was a
at
Yeah,
district
a
championship.
stadium
Hmm.
they do field
that
events.
at a stadium that belonged to the ISD. So that was school grounds. Those are independent school district grounds. So you can't say that there wasn't there. And I'm looking on my realtor site, DI, FISD, Frisco Independent School District. Are you losing me?
No,
Frisco
we hear
Independent
you.
No, we got you.
Frisco School District is 54% Asian, and it is 24% white, 16% black, and 14% Hispanic, and the rest are others. So it's not like she said that blacks were few and far between. They're not, and that's of a school district that has
I
66,000
live
kids,
here.
according to my realtor.
I live here. Like my kids go to
She
those
does too.
schools that
She
you're
does too,
talking
man.
about.
Well, I sell real estate up there. I know all that's going on up there, and I live about 6 miles from there.
Not I
I don't have
know
kids in
all
that
that's
school
going on.
district,
Oh well, that's a
but
little
I mean,
different.
it's an area I run. My clients are there. I see what's
Everybody
going
trying to
on,
talk to each other.
and
Everybody
so
trying to
I
talk
know
to each other
the
tonight.
statistics.
Hold on, Carlos. So this woman, Kathy, and what's the woman on Chatter? What's your name? I mean, on
On
Clubhouse.
CH.
What's your name, ma'am? That lives
My
there.
name is Queen. Queen. And my kids go to Reed High School.
So
Reedy.
I mean, you guys are both saying opposite things. Like I'm confused. I ain't gonna lie. You saying one thing and she's saying another, and
Wait,
we
what's
just
the
trying to learn.
disagreement? What's the disagreement? I don't see a disagreement.
Can you mute
Significant.
out? The
She the
disagreement is
disagreement.
Queen said this is an uppity neighborhood where there's not a lot of black people, and Adrian is saying, not Adrian, Kathy is saying that's not true. So that's the confusion.
Queen
Well,
gave
she
you the
said there was
demographic
four. It was
breakdown.
14% black, so that
Queen
technically is not even half. So
Queen
they're
gave you the
both
number.
they're saying the same
But
thing.
We
There
are
there's only
aren't a
some
lot.
twenty four
us, but
percent
it's
white.
14%.
not a lot of us. It's
Right.
not a lot
Yeah,
of us, but
14%
There's
we
there's
is
are
not a
coming
lot.
up,
there's
but it's not a lot of
well,
us.
neither 20, it's not that much for whites either. It's only 24% white.
That's more
You
than
know,
14%.
so
Oh,
well, it
okay.
is, yes, but that's the nature of the country. I'm just saying it is not like it's
Okay.
80% white and 20%
Ma'am,
black.
are your
No,
kids in
it is
high
a very
school? Are
Word.
your
diverse.
kids
It's
in high
mainly,
school?
to be honest with you, it's mainly Indians that live up there. People from
I
India,
agree with you,
Middle
but are
Easterners
your
live up
kids in
there.
high
That's why
Oh,
they're
it's
in
school?
the
getting
eight.
worse. Jesus
That's
Christ.
that's what lives
Uh,
Are
up
your
there.
kids in high
Okay.
school?
I mean, it's not worse. That's what it is. They're Asians. That's what live there.
Well, and
So can
allegedly
I
these
ask
two
a?
had a history. We're all forgetting these two had a history
Oh,
apparently.
go ahead, Mike.
No, they did not. They did not know each other. The principal at the school has said they didn't know each other. The coaches have said they didn't know each other. The parents have said they did not know each other.
The
Even
coach did say that they knew each other and that they had an
no, the
altercation
coach
a
said
couple of
they
weeks
did not.
ago.
No, they did not. That has been debunked. That has been debunked. That is not true. The coach has said that is not true, and the teachers have said it's not true.
Debunked by who?
Said it's not true. Well, it's been
Can
debunked
you
by
give
all
us
of them.
more
They've come
All of
out and
information?
who?
said that. Even Frisco Police
Yeah,
put
one
something
second,
a
one second,
statement
Remix,
out.
one second, guys. It's starting to sound like a shit show. I'm sitting here listening, and I don't even enjoy it. I'm not enjoying how this is becoming very antagonistic. This is not debate the news. So we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna have a conversation. We're not gonna be antagonistic. That's not the shit that we do here.
I heard the altercation came from the football days when I thought those they're both on each other's school's football team. There was an altercation during the football season, and that the two just had a history. Like they knew of each other, and they're like they knew of each. Like when I say history, they knew of each other, and they didn't like each other. That's all I'm
that would
saying.
make this
I
premeditated
heard that
murder
too.
if he
They
brings
all
the
May
very
knife.
May
well could.
I ask a question to
It's
the
not
room?
premeditated murder.
Well, if you bring a knife
So
to
my
somebody you had a
question
fight with
is,
before, that's premeditated murder.
why?
That's first degree.
Hello, sir. Excuse me. Do y'all? Why did he bring a knife?
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Whether
can
this is what
I?
I'm saying.
Oh,
It doesn't matter where the event is held.
You're not at school
If
and
if
can
if you
carry a
if you
knife.
have if you have an
If you
event
carry a knife,
where
you're not
kids
at
and
school.
multiple schools involved, it's considered school property. You
Right.
cannot
It's school
bring
property.
a weapon on school property, no matter where the event is held. It's still considered school property. So for him, the fact that he had a knife in his bag, that's wrong. Period. Point blank. I don't care what the animosity was about or anything. He shouldn't have had the knife. Period.
so can I respond? According
That's your
to
opinion. That's
Texas
your
No,
opinion,
that's the
bro.
law,
law.
Well,
You can't bring a
That's your
One
weapon
opinion,
on
bro.
second.
according
that's
There's
not
a
the
to
lady
law.
That's
on
your opinion.
CH, a queen. Did you want to respond?
according to Texas law, persons under the age of 18, it is unlawful for a person under the age of 18 to intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly carry on or about his or her person a location restricted knife, subject to certain exceptions, right? So a person commits an offense if they intentionally carry a location restricted knife and is under the age of 18 and is not on the person's own premises, inside or directly en route to a motor vehicle, or under the direct supervision. So you might ask, what is a location restricted knife? A location restricted knife, according to Texas law, is any knife with a blade over 5 1/2 inches. In addition
Okay.
to restrictions, right? It talks about a kid under 18 can carry a under 5 1/2 inch knife in any place,
Thank you.
including
Did
school.
you hear that, Normo? It's not illegal.
According to
One second, one
this,
second, one
No,
Did you
second.
hear
no,
that,
that's not
Normo?
true.
One
That's
second,
not
one
true.
second, one second, one second,
Excuse
guys.
me.
I'm
Schools have
Excuse
literally
zero, they
me.
have
You're
zero
assuming
tolerance
the
policies
size
with
of the
these weapons.
knife.
One mic,
what?
one mic. I said
She
one
ain't
mic,
reading it.
please. One mic, please. Thank you. All right. Schools typically have zero tolerance policies when it comes to weapons, especially in this day and age of kids that people being killed in school, shot in school. They have a zero tolerance. That and I'm gonna go look and see what that district's policy is. You guys are getting up here and you guys are saying that it doesn't make sense for a school to say you could bring a weapon. In Texas, you can carry a gun. Okay, so that means what you get your still carry license. You can bring your goddamn gun to school. I don't want to hear. I mean, you guys are making some ridiculous
But
No,
shit.
not a
but
gun.
Who the fuck is
see,
that? Yo, get rid of them. Get rid of them off the fucking stage. Please get rid of them. If they're on CH, get them off the fucking stage. Remove them from the room. We're trying to have a conversation here, you know, and there's very few restrictions. The one restriction that I put on is disrespect. No disrespect. That's it. Let people talk. So, guys, all I'm saying is, you guys sitting here acting like you're defending the guy. I went and I did a quick search. I sent it to you. Sent it to the group text. I sent it out to a couple of people. They didn't know each other. They did not know each other. And you guys are sitting there thinking like y'all helping this case by saying they knew each other. If they knew each other, then it's premeditated murder. If they had a beef. I'm just sitting here listening to y'all. You guys don't even. You guys come in here and try to debate and don't even try to look for facts. It took me like when I got tired of listening to the misinformation information. Took me less than a minute to find out they didn't know each other. But you guys are still in here. Oh, they knew each other. Oh, that was premeditated. If they knew each other, if they had previous problems from before, that was premeditated. He goaded him. It's like, listen to me. All I want is you guys to have a decent discussion. It's an interesting topic. Obviously, it is. You know, it's something we're going to talk about for another hour or so. But let's talk about let's have the conversation. Let's not be assholes to each other. Don't get mad at someone because they have a goddamn different opinion. If you guys have the same opinion, what is there to fucking talk about? And that's the point I don't get. People get mad at people because they have a different opinion. I love it when someone has a different opinion because I get to understand where they're coming from and hopefully they get to understand my perspective. But no, you guys want to have everyone believe what the hell you say, and then the conversation's over at the fucking 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Respect someone that has a difference of opinion. That's where you're gonna grow and learn from. Even if you don't fucking learn, you're gonna grow. Okay? I land with that.
Well
Chat, if
said.
you would
I like
like,
to
it's
chime
Adrian.
in.
Hold on, everyone. Just want to say this. Chat, I'll stay up for another 30 minutes if you want to just include me in your round and say, okay, fact checker, because I could
Well,
have
yeah,
told
I
you
was
this a
trying to
while
throw it
ago.
to you, but they didn't hear me say
Yeah,
because I was like, Adrian, just to
yeah,
double
just throw
check
it to
that.
me and I'll tell you when I'm going to go to bed. But this way we don't have that because I agree with Jonathan wholeheartedly. It's kind of crazy to go back and forth with that. Jonathan, I do have the zero policy, which does strongly the Fristos ISD's exact student code of conduct. It isn't quoted, but the public understanding says zero tolerance. I did read something about the blade not being any longer than 5.5. You guys, I'm all set with my research tools in front of me. So ask me in chat. I'll be available when you call out my name.
Thanks,
Adrian.
sugar.
Well,
Can I chime in real
Adrian.
quick?
do we
let
have
me
the
say
murder
this.
weapon? Sorry.
That
Adrian.
They do.
uh,
Go ahead,
Adrian,
APM.
can you hear me?
We do, Mike. I'll throw it right to you after APM goes. Go ahead, huh?
I just wanted to say, like, I went and read the statute for the stand your ground. It's 932, the penal code. I actually practice law in Texas, just not criminal law. I don't want to do criminal law, never want to. But if you read it, I think that this Aunt Carmelo will probably have a hard time just because it specifically speaks on provocation and it specifically speaks on inviting a particular type of behavior. So if you, I don't know the case law because case law brings in nuance to the law, which will probably be presented in court. But if you just read the language of the statute, which, I agree with the race aspect and what everybody has said earlier, but if you go read the language of the law, unfortunately, I have come to the conclusion that he will have an uphill battle. This is not knowing what the case law will say, because I don't practice criminal law, but not knowing what the case law will say, but reading the statute, he will probably have an uphill battle because it appears that he invited a certain behavior, and that's a word line number 3 932b3 that says you can't invite the behavior, and then 93031, sorry, not 32 but 931b4 said talks about provocation, and then it gives exceptions for provocation. And just based off of reading those two parts of the statute, I don't know that he would have a strong like standing. But that's based off of not knowing what the case law says. So I invite everybody to go look up the penal code in Texas, 931 B3 and 4.
You want to
APM.
Can
read?
I,
You can
You
ask
want
me
to
a
can I
read
say
question.
the
something
part
to
about
that too? Because
escalation?
I just wanted to add real quick that also you have to put into it the section that it has on the force, because you also can only use force that's reasonably necessary, and those are the exact words. So he's going to have to prove that too, that his actions was reasonable, given the force that was put against him.
You're both
I wanted to ask
100%
this question.
correct.
This is for
Well,
anybody in the room. Just curiosity. I'm not. This isn't a gotcha question. Just literally just for curiosity. would when Austin said, "Hey, you got to leave," would is that what would they try to cite that as the initial start of the confrontation? And then also the second part of that question is, if anyone could put their defense attorney hats on, what would the defense strategy be? Would they go with the stand your ground thing? Is that their best bet?
For the first part, I'll say this: when it's that you have to leave, if it was presented, and it'll come out in the case, but if it was, hey man, you know what? Would you please leave? You have to leave. That's one thing. But if it was more like, hey man, get the hell up out of here. You don't belong here. See, those are two different versions of the same idea, and the whole with the eye contact and how they were over him, all of that matters in whether it's told as well. Hey, you have to leave. You're underneath our tent. You have to go now, or all the intimidation that comes with all of the the animus and all of the threatening energy and spirit, like, man, hey, whether race words thrown in there, none of that is known. So to come to some conclusion that it was just, hey, you have to leave now, and it was just, and he's like, and then all of a sudden that Carmelo just escalated it to, man, like he was the one escalating it. You can't come to those conclusions without the facts of the case. There's no way you can come to that based on anything at all, except you have to see how the person that actually was feeling threatened, how they felt under the circumstances and the situation. But what's interesting to me is we don't put all this extras when it goes the other way. When somebody else in a lot of different scenarios, and not only that, we know cases where people are deported out of this country for just protesting. Nobody put no physical hands on nobody. People are actually accused of crimes and race hating because they just physically say something to somebody. And there was no physical, but the person just threatened another person of another religion or another race, and they threatened them, and that person can say, I feel threatened, and now the person that raised their voice and said these words that the person didn't like gets arrested. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's an entirely
well,
different subject. Those people are being deported because they're not citizens and because they were made falsehoods on their applications for their green cards, and or they participated in harassment, vandalism, threatening people, and acting on behalf of a terrorist organization called Hamas. That's why they're being
Without due
deported.
justice, we don't know
Not
No,
all
because
every
of
case.
sir.
You
caucus.
don't know.
No,
You
let's
don't
Not
know
get
every
back
because
case
to
that
the
I
of
was talking
topic.
about.
Scoops, did you want to go?
No, the only thing I can say in this is, there's some schools like in some high schools, like in mine, that there's some schools that you have rivalries with, and that other person wouldn't have been welcome sitting in that area with us. And there's areas like when I went to Gary, I was told not to sit in certain areas, or get caught behind the bleachers or something like that. But there are some bad rivalries in high schools. I mean, we you don't see it so much in college because everybody's woke a little bit, and we enjoy each other's company. But in high school, things are different, and there are communities that don't get along with other communities.
You know,
Right. So you said
I
the quiet part out loud. Now, would anybody confess that the Metcalfs had zero reason to even approach him? Everybody want to put the cart before the horse and want to jump to the knife in the bag. Now, I would say this when it comes to defense. Judge Joe Brown, and because I ain't gonna take credit for it, he said that the defense could argue by them grabbing his bag, that's robbery. By them grabbing his bag, he can argue, hey, they was trying to rob me. So that could be one level there. The simple fact, the amount of force, you don't get to determine that there because you can literally get killed with a punch. So them two trying to jump him, and the other son need to be charged also. He wasn't away from it, according to witnesses. He wasn't away from the scene a couple of bleachers down, according to some of the witnesses. But nonetheless, they was in the wrong for even approaching him. Whatever transpired after that, acknowledge that the Metcalf was in the wrong for even approaching him. And then to want to put somebody out in the rain even goes to show how wicked they are. It's pouring down rain and you want to push somebody out in the rain. Now, all the history of the racial stuff, I'm going to respect the deceased father's wish to not make it racial or political. But if it gets to that point anyway, which it appears we are, so be it. But on the onset, them boys was wrong for approaching Carmelo Anthony. Period. And that needs to be acknowledged by people like Elmo and others who's trying to do some railroading that's going on here. And this is a problem that we have in America when it comes to the jury, because if we see this cognitive dissonance going on here, well, now you know why black men are the most exonerated from wrongful crimes. I land.
They're
So
also
that's
the most imprisoned.
yeah, 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 yeah. Is there any new voices over here on Chatter that want to jump in? Anyone that haven't spoken yet? We're having, because it seems like we're having a lot of people are actually getting in and putting dropping some really good stuff. Anyone else wants to jump in? Because anyone on CH that hasn't spoken yet want to jump in as well? All right, guys. So yeah, before we go back to y'all, I know because there's a lot of people I want to jump back in. Listen to me. So do you guys think Carmelo Anthony is going to be found guilty, or do you guys think that he's going to be exonerated? That's what I want to, because as I hear more and more, and I heard the attorney speak, and I'm hearing more and more about this. You know, guys, I don't have an opinion yet, man. I think Carmelo Anthony. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Jonathan,
I think
that
he's going to plead, Jonathan.
that was
Can
actually
can
kind of
anybody ask a
serendipitous of you a little
question
bit,
from
Jonathan. I was
class?
going to ask you that kind of exact same question. Do you think
Could
that it's going to be very relevant on how they try to charge him? Like he might be able to get off on murder one. So do you think they should go for murder two? Because if they go for murder one, I don't know how they'd be able to prove that one. Does that make sense?
No, I think he'll plead down to murder too. I think you're right about that because they can't show premeditation.
I think they
Right.
go
There's always a situation
manslaughter.
of overcharging.
Hey
Sorry, Jonathan.
Elmo,
Go
I,
ahead.
can you admit that they was wrong for even approaching Carmelo Anthony?
no, no,
And this
no,
this
no.
is this is
Listen to me, man.
separate opinion.
I think they go with manslaughter, or they get a manslaughter, whether it's through a plea or whatever, because
That's a
um
good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
um yeah, you guys. I don't know why you guys are looking for murder, murder, murder. Um, it's too it's. I'm about here come the hate. I'm gonna get the hate, but I'm gonna do it anyway because that's why you're paid the big bucks, right? To do this show, right?
Bring it.
It, it's too politically charged, too racially charged of a case. So I think I think right now the prosecutors are going to try. They're going to try to. This is one of those cases where Carmelo Anthony's going to benefit from it being a racially charged case. They're going to try to make it seem as if justice is equal across the board, and I think they're going to give him a sweet plea. Uh, that's what I think they're going to try for. He's going to get manslaughter. I think voluntary manslaughter is what they're going to go with, and I can't see because right now the community's up and roar up, and so they're saying it's a defense. People are saying it's not a defense. It's going to go one or two ways. It's not going to go down the middle. Either they're going to try to make an example out of him, but I don't think they're going to try to make an example out of him.
And
Because there's too
hey,
much going on.
Jonathan.
There's
I
too much
actually
going
agree with
on.
that, Jonathan. But by saying that, aren't you saying that you agree that it's more than manslaughter? I do agree with you. I think that it's a very racially charged case, and that's gonna show itself. But that stance you just had, and again, I said I agree with you. But wouldn't that mean you are saying that you believe it's more than manslaughter?
No, I don't have enough facts to say it's more than manslaughter, guys.
Fair
This
enough. Yeah,
is
fair
I'm
enough.
being honest with you. I'm not. You guys know I don't pander. I have not gotten enough facts to sway me one way or the other. You know, um,
Hey,
hell,
Jonathan,
Man,
I'm at the point if my girlfriend came and said, "Hey, he's guilty," I'm saying, "Okay, he's guilty." She comes and say he's not guilty. I'm okay, he's not guilty. That's where I'm at. I'm at the point where I can be because the way the facts as I see them, the things that I'm here. This is what I'm bothered with on both sides. A, he brought the knife. B, he was in the tent when he probably shouldn't have been. Okay, and I know that there's a culture where you can go back and forth. See when he asked to lead the tent, he challenged. And then he challenged again and grabbed a knife and stabbed him. So those are the things that I find very problematic. Okay, just me. If it's my son, I would be pissed off. Now, here's the thing. Now, he be it was raining and he was seeking shelter. The kid they approached him. They're menacing. They put their hands on him. They shouldn't have put their hands on him. And once and one could say that no, the invitation was more of a like pretty much I didn't say it as invited. I said it to just like to say don't do it, because guys, the way kids speak these days and the way we all speak, when we're saying things, you know, it just doesn't come out that way, So I mean, we say the opposite of what we mean at times, touch me and see what happens. If someone said touch me and see what happens, that's not me saying touch me. That's pretty much me saying don't touch me. You know.
exactly.
So those are the things that I'm looking at them both ways, and I
It's
let
a
me just
tough
this
one,
let,
dude.
let me just this right here. Both parties deserve justice. Both parties deserve justice. Austin's family definitely deserves justice because he lost his they lost a family member, lost his life. Okay, and Carmelo deserves justice, and what his justice is, I don't know. Okay, if he really was acting in self defense, he deserves to have justice. And if he really did kill, if it really turns out to be manslaughter or murder, then he deserves to have that justice as well.
Hey, Jonathan.
Uh,
Real briefly, I'd like to say real quickly. I just want to say this real briefly. I think it's a precedent. It's a dangerous precedent. If they say this man manslaughter, murder, that they say Carmelo Anthony. If the verdict comes down at this time in America, where this black man was at a track meet, was basically minding his own business, and he was very good at what he did. Probably had seen these people if he's a senior. He probably has a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It doesn't. It stands to my logic. They've seen each other before. They've competed before, whatever. But the point is this: if the precedent comes down in this hour on with under this administration, if it comes down that as a black man in Texas or anywhere else, some other white people come up on you and push up on you, you can't defend yourself. And if you happen to strike a blow in defending yourself and whatever day that is, and the other person dies, and now that person's wrong, what you're saying is, black folks, don't you ever think about defending yourself. Just acquiesce, bow down to white folks that can just run up on you at any time, anywhere. Just, and I'm here to say, I wouldn't recommend that for America right now.
But you can't
Jonathan, I got
really
a
say
question
that
for you.
I
because
just said it. I
every
just got you
situation
saying.
of self defense is fact intensive. Like you can't say like you can't defend yourself because when it comes to self defense, it's fact intensive. Like it's like everything leading up to, and you have to look at every state has different ways that they define what is self defense. You have split second premeditation. Sometimes it's like a duty to retreat. So it depends on every state. So you can't make that blanket statement that no man will be able to defend themselves because it's so fact intensive to what happened. Like it can, they're going to investigate everything that happened the day of that event and even before that event to lead up to what happened at that track meet to determine whether or not there was premeditation or whether it was not. And then they're going to examine what happened in the whole instance to determine whether or not he acted in a manner that was self defense or not. And it's very fact intensive. And we put the blanket over it, and we can't do that because every situation is different. In the I think somebody mentioned George Zimmerman earlier. In that George Zimmerman case, it was in the heat of the moment. Did George Zimmerman feel that he was in fear of his life? And the jury determined in the heat of the moment, he was in fear of his life and therefore he could protect himself. I don't agree with that, but that's the determination that's going to be made and it's going to be presented to the court. So we can't put a blanket statement over it. That's all I
Well,
got.
that's that. Well, sister, we have to definitely disagree because there are plenty of us that don't give a damn about death nor jail. When we just seen Daniel Penny choke out a homeless man that had mental health issues, and then see this cognitive dissonance. We don't give a damn about what white folks think. Because at the bottom line is that there's no harming us for free. Period. They can write whatever they want to write on paper. There are those of us, you got a badge and all that there. Your qualified immunity is revoked. You kill my child, I'm coming to kill you. Ain't no two ways about
Yeah.
it. You try to take my life, I'm trying to take your life. Ain't no two ways about it. And that's the part where people having a hope in a system as opposed to treating people the way you want to be treated. But no, we ain't going for that there. The hell with them and whoever's offended by it. But Brother Jonathan, I got a question for you, brother. Could you
Uh,
give us your understanding on the difference between, because there are those who's trying to spin it talking about he invited, but he didn't invite them to the tent to even talk to him. So that's, but what's the difference between a warning in this context and a invitation? Because we saying he warned them. And it would be no different if it was dealing with firearms and somebody say, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna shoot to defend myself or shoot to kill. I warned you, retreat. That's the context I'm asking it in. What's the difference between a warning and a so-called invitation to
okay. Okay.
violence?
Can I
If
respond
you,
to him?
sure, go ahead.
Well, and this is why I say you can't put a blanket over everything. What's going to happen is they're going to go and they're going to look at case law and they're going to look and see if there's something that is similar to what we are dealing with right now. And then they're going to make a determination of whether or not what you're saying it fits within the law. And it can go either way. And this is why I say it's very fact intensive. I me personally, I mean, I'm a black woman. I know what happens. I have shoot the I live in Texas. I know, that you can shoot driving down the road, you can get pulled over just for being black. It has happened to me before in a car with the black male just because he was in a nice car, right? Looked at us and let us go. So I know what you're referring to and what the context that you're referring to, but all I'm saying is that it comes down to the facts and what your facts can be proved based on some things that we may not even be privy to, because there's a whole body of case law that's going to be interpreted when it comes to identifying what standard they're going to apply here. So that's all I'm saying, is that you can't just
Well,
say a blanket, this is what should happen or what may not happen or how I want it to happen. It's going to be very fact intensive. You can have the same set of facts and one thing different happen, and then he definitely gets off on self defense, no matter what race he is, because it has happened before. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah.
right.
And let me just,
Well,
I'll address, because when he said push me, and see what happens. That can sound like an invitation. But I want to call something else out, because we're here having these conversations, and I know you're on the other platform, and so, one of the things I noticed that you said, and I thought was so profound, and so fucking respectful, when you said, the father said he doesn't want race injected in, and I'm gonna respect that, though it's probably already is or whatever. And so, but you just went left and started talking about the white people, this, that, and I don't give a fuck, and all this other stuff. And we don't mind this case certainly has some racial components in it, but it seemed like you went real militant there for a minute when we're just trying to have a discussion about this case and what's going on with this case. And I understand other cases have things to do with it, but you made a very broad statement about all people of one color, and I think when that happens on the other side, on our, and you heard it being said about, let's say, about black people, you would call that a racist statement. I'm just saying, if we're going to have these discussions, and we're going to have them, because we have people of all race and diversity that's participating in this conversation. And I think the comment you made doesn't give people a level of comfort to continue to engage in the conversation. Just just want to put that out there.
well, you know what? That's fair game, because when I went militant, I was there. I envisioned the situation on the train, so that's what that was the energy shift there, because I envisioned it. I've even mentioned the George Zimmerman thing that was brought up here. Same circumstances where uh, the
Just, no,
aggressor
say no more, man. I have a
yeah,
ton of respect for
yeah,
you, because you owned it immediately, and said, you know what, and you owned them to it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Most people would have turned around and tried to further use it and make me the problem and call me coon for even noticing it and bringing it up. Appreciate you.
yeah. And
Hey,
one
Jonathan,
one
I
little
got to
caveat:
also.
the reason why, to the sister's point about the facts, remember now, what is being done with the narrative going on both sides is to contaminate the jury pool before they get there. So even though when they bring the facts, how the facts are interpreted comes down to the jury. So thus, when I asked you the question about the difference between a warning and an invitation, because I seen some defense lawyer on YouTube there trying to say that was an invitation. However, if that be their logic, then we got to counter that to say, no, that was a warning. That was not an invitation. And so, regardless to whatever the facts are, it comes down to 12 people having to interpret these facts. And this is where, the racial component comes in there, where, hey, if it's on this end, they see it one way. If it's on this end, they see it another way. Even being mad that, hey, we raised over $250,000 for Carmelo, but they didn't have that same energy when they raised money for another killer, Daniel Penny or Kyle Rittenhouse. But he's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And that's the reason why we not letting us being harmed for free. We fighting right now with the legal system. But we gotta acknowledge that you cannot show us images of us constantly being harmed. And then now there's this incident where the roles are reversed. And now all of a sudden, the law is supposed to go this way or that way when it is not no consistency with it. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either way, you just as black folks, you're not gonna win. So if you can't get justice, this is how big it is. If you can't get justice in this system and you're black, how do you keep fighting for it? And so we have to have real conversations. If you have people over us that don't have any love for us, and it's going to come out always to our negative detriment, we as a people need to have a national conversation about who is authorized to be over us. If you don't have love for us, you shouldn't be over us in any capacity. Those are real conversations that real people want to have, because we can't keep coming up short and we defend ourselves when everybody else can stand their ground, but oh, you black, and two big bullies come up on you, and you can't defend yourself, and so you can't win. Who's gonna keep playing a game you can't win? That's how serious it is today in 2025. It don't take much imagination to picture that boy at 17 has seen many scenarios where the black man
I don't know,
comes up
but
not breathing
I
anymore, comes up dead in all kinds
oh
of
okay.
situations. So to defend oneself and to
You
have
still
the
talking?
mind to whether it be fearful, justified or not, you got plenty of cases to pull from where some white folks have come up on a black man and now he's in that position and they threatening him and he's saying, I can't got nowhere to run. Hey, if you're gonna bring it, I'm in Texas. He might be pulling from, I'm gonna stand my ground. I'm not provoking you. I'm trying to get out the rain. I'm trying to run track, trying to make something out of my life. Hey, I ain't messing with you, man, but I can't. What, I'm gonna be a coward the rest of my life and just running every time you push up on me? So you can't defend yourself? A squirrel knows how to defend itself. A mouse knows that you got to defend yourself at some point. You can't just forever be not defending yourself and thinking you're gonna have some justice at some point.
I mean, he could have used his hands. He would have been within his rights to do that.
When you
But you can't just murder. You can't murder people. That's not
self-defense is
self-defense.
not murder, bro. It's funny that you would try to even
Right.
make that
But there's a
argument.
dead man here, you see, who did not
Yeah,
use
yeah, there's a
deadly
lot of dead
force.
people all over the planet,
Right.
but
But
you
we're
don't make
talking
that
about
same argument on
this
the other side.
case.
We're
We're
talking
talking
about
about
consistency.
this case.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
This
And
is
you're not
what
in
this
you're
is
not in his
this
shoes.
case. And these
You're
are
not in
this
his shoes.
facts.
Right. You're
I'm not
not in his
talking about
shoes.
shoes. I'm talking about
Right.
law
You're
and
not in his
facts.
position.
I'm
Well, I'm
not
talking
If
about
trying to
you're
be
if
in
we're
his
t-
position.
if
we're-
you're
I'm trying
representing
to
them,
tell
you
you
got to
what
be
the law
shoes.
is and
Don't
what the
you're
facts
gonna
no,
get
we're
is.
over
talking about
I
a
don't need to
person
be in
fearing
his
for their life.
position. No, this is
you're
the
making
reasonable
Ramus,
man
Ramus,
standard. You can't make that
Ramus.
up. This is the reasonable man standard.
Yeah, that's
17
yeah.
year olds
What's
fuss and fight
reasonable
and
to
touch
you
each
and what's
other.
reasonable to someone else is
No,
different.
there's a general rule about that, sir. The
No,
law is
sir.
the law.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yes,
it's
there
not.
is. I'm
You're
telling you
not
the way
black.
the law is done. I
No,
don't
bro.
have
I'm
to
telling
be
you what the
black.
law is. Yeah,
Listen, man,
you're not in
I'm
those
not
shoes,
black and
man.
I didn't kill anybody
And
either.
he's not Jewish, so you can't tell him how to feel
We're
about
not
how he feels
talking
about his life,
race, brother.
about his life.
We're not
You can't tell
talking
another
about
man
shoes,
or
brother.
woman if they're
We're
fearful or
no, we're
not. That's
talking
what the
about
law
one
yeah. I
says.
thing.
think you said it earlier, right? Like how
We're
They're
do you
talking
standing
about
their
a
ground,
boy
man.
who's
self
got a
defense thing?
You
knife in
can't
his
you
Sorry,
can't
ATM, my
heart.
be
bad.
in those shoes. You never be
I'm
in his
not trying
skin.
to be in his shoes.
Yes, you are. You're making
Hello?
this
No, I'm
judgment.
not.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
trying to get him the best deal he can
No,
get, and
man,
that's
bro,
going to
ain't
be
nobody.
murder
You don't
too.
need him to
Oh, they
represent.
having a whole
You're not
argument over there. What
representing
y'all talking?
him. You're not
Yeah, I
representing
am
him.
in this
He didn't hire you to
conversation as
represent him.
much as you are, sir.
No, no, you're not,
As
Oddly
bro.
enough,
much as you
talking about
are.
what we're
No,
talking
you're
about.
not. No, you're not, bro. You're nowhere
As
near
much as
defending him.
you are, sir.
All right, one
Remus,
mic,
take
guys.
that
One
mic.
mic. Remus. One mic. Chad, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Chat, are you there?
Can y'all hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead.
Okay. They were just going. My question was like, why did he bring the knife? And I wonder what led him to make that decision to go to school, to go to that track meet. Because if you think about it, I don't have kids, but if I did, I know my niece runs track, and I've gone to her track meets, and I'm like thinking, well, shoot, what if one of those kids had a gun? It's an open field, a totally open field. The bleachers are full of kids. They aren't really passing through metal detectors. It's just an open field with we're in the era of school shooters. Like, are these track meets no longer safe now? Like, who's checking these kids' bags?
Yeah, there's people everywhere.
But you know what, Chad? If it may or may not come into question because it's still a conflict. Did he lawfully have the knife or not? Because if he lawfully had it, That's not even a question anymore. You
Exactly.
know, so
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you make it seem like he just picked up a knife that particular day. What if
Who made
him
it?
and
Who made it seem like that?
okay? What I'm you raised the question, did you not?
I
Why did he
didn't make it
bring?
seem like
No, no,
anything,
no.
sir.
Okay. Let me tell you what you did say. What you said was, let's question why did he bring the knife? So what I'm saying is, what if he has that knife every day since he's 15, and that's just a part
So
of
he
what he
takes it to every track meet.
every day, everywhere,
That's
possibly.
still a problem.
Hold,
Well,
hold
then he's
on. Well,
bringing
to you,
deadly
it's a
weapons
problem.
to
If
school
it keeps
every
him
day.
alive,
He's
hold
in a
on for a
world of
minute.
trouble.
If he's within the law, and this is the whole point. And on that whole campus and all throughout town, who has knives? All of this begs to be seen. So what I'm saying is to try to sit here and kind of come to this judgment when you number one, is the knife legal? We talked about 5.5 inches, and it was well said that anywhere the sister said that you go with a knife that small is okay. That's part of what the law says, according to what one woman said in this room today.
That's not. Remix, that's not true. That doesn't apply to
Well, we
schools.
got
Schools
that.
have a
Wait, we got to wait
zero
to see,
tolerance.
Jonathan. I don't. Where's the documentation on that? Can we read it in the chat? Because I
the
don't
Bro,
think
how
the
we
the
can
law
hell
see
is
the
She
that.
read
law
it. She
actually
read
if
it.
they
says
found that knife, they would have taken it from the kid.
She read it.
the
She
law
read it.
actually
Yeah,
includes school grounds, and it says that they can can have
What?
it under 5 inches on school
that's
grounds.
what
Yes.
I'm
Once
talking about.
again, once
Nobody wants to
again,
hear that.
Adrian read.
Now we're
Adrian
gonna
read
say that's not
directly
true.
from the school district. All right, that they have a zero tolerance policy on any weapons.
But that's not a weapon, obviously. If it can carry
Yeah,
it
like what are we
anywhere,
Yeah, but
talking
it
about
may
here?
not be
a hunting
considered a
knife,
weapon.
5.5 inches
Yes.
under is not a weapon. You're calling it a weapon. That's the judgment you're putting on it. You're calling it a weapon.
No. Okay.
The
Let me
law
He
try
always
does
that
not
had
You
the
call
don't
it
again.
knife.
a
believe
He
what you
weapon.
always
just
carried
said.
the knife.
Okay.
Not
He
even
got in
you
trouble for
believe what
having
you
the knife
just
In
said.
in
before.
That a
She
Do I
knife
need to
said it.
raise
in
my
your
hand?
Anywhere you
hand is
go,
not a
you
weapon.
can.
Do I need
Not
to
even
raise
you
CAN.
my
believe
hand?
I
that.
didn't write the rules.
And you
no.
still
Some places
and
you
you
can
Okay,
carry
still
the
one
and
rules.
sec.
you
No.
still
Remus.
claiming you
Remus.
ain't
One
reading the
Yeah, Remus,
second.
you
rules.
guys talk too much, man. We don't do that like that. We let people get in. Go ahead, chat.
I think Kathy was trying to get into explain.
Yeah. In the Frisco Code of Conduct Handbook on page 7, it states students shall not be in possession or use a razor, box cover, chain, or any other object used in any way to threaten or inflict bodily injury to another person. Then it goes back down and it says guns and all of that, a firearm, a club, a firearm, a stun gun, knuckles, pocket knife, or any other knives.
And
Boom,
they didn't.
right
And he
there.
Well, a
didn't.
box cutter is
He
definitely
didn't
a
use
knife.
it to threaten. He did not use it to
And
threaten anybody.
this prohibition extends to school property, school sponsored events, and areas
Exactly.
managed by these entities. Texas law also restricts the carrying of knives on school grounds or at school events unless authorized by the institution.
There you
We'll see
go.
how
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We'll see how
You
it
guys
Exactly.
don't
plays
read.
out.
It's like,
But
no,
here's
one
the
second. One
caveat:
second, please. One
do
second,
not
please.
conflate
Like
politics
these
with
schools
law.
have zero codes of policy. I know someone that took a butter knife to school so that they could put butter on their bagel and wound up getting kicked out of school. Okay, so yeah, wound up getting
That
Like
kicked
I
out of
that
said
is
school.
hours
correct.
ago.
But that's the distinction. We should not conflate
I said all that hours ago.
the
No, I know
but
that, but
listen.
they keep bringing this shit up. I don't know why. And typically we don't have to deal with this kind of stuff because we can put it out there and people understand it. Now, I mean, when they say zero policy, zero tolerance policy is a zero tolerance policy.
Yes.
It got expelled because for breakfast she wanted to spread butter instead of using a plastic knife. Brought the butter a knife and the butter knife fell out. It was a butter knife, and they knew what it was for, and she still got kicked out of
So
school.
we've got Jonathan two
But
conflicting
Yeah, it's a
laws.
silly thing to argue about.
We've
Like
got two
if you're driving
conflicting
It's
down the
silly as
track
laws.
fuck.
meet
It's silly
and
as
you
fuck.
found
but
out another kid
We'll
had a
wait
knife,
till the
would you like,
jury
well, it's under
says
five and
something.
a half inches. It's okay. They can have the knife.
It's
No.
silly. It's silly as hell because what makes it so goddamn silly is all these school shootings and people being hurt in school and schools being held responsible and getting sued and everything else. That they're like, oh, you can bring a knife on as long as it's not over 5.5 inches.
Right,
That-
right.
that's
right
Hey,
the
that's
silliest shit.
Texas. That's Texas,
And,
baby.
and
That's Texas,
I'm gonna
baby.
tell you,
That's
the
Texas,
other silly
baby.
shit.
to
Oh,
that point.
Remus,
Well, it's
Remus,
only a
Remus,
4 inch knife.
one mic, guys. Remus, yeah, we don't do that. With the other silly shit. Oh, they knew each other. They knew each other. So, and it's beef. Well, if it's beef and they knew each other, then it's fucking premeditated. It's like you guys argue some of the dumbest shit. And please do not fucking come be my witness. Don't speak up for me. You understand? I don't want nothing. Okay, I'll deal with this shit
Views.
Is there
myself.
a
And
queue?
vice
I'd like to
versa.
share my
Vice
thoughts. Is
versa
there a
too.
is there a
Yeah,
I'm
queue?
in the queue
yeah.
right before
Who
20th.
asked to get in the queue?
Jonathan,
Go
is
ahead,
there a
ma'am.
queue?
I'm right before you, 20th.
Go ahead,
Okay, I
ma'am.
apologize. Thank you. Let me know when. I'm sorry.
You go.
Okay,
Go, ma'am.
Jonathan, I'm hoping I can get my thought across completely. First of all, this is a black man in America, and it just kills me when there's black people in a room and they pretend they don't know what it is to be black in America. I'm gonna begin with Trayvon Martin. In the case of Trayvon Martin, the lawyer went to multiple judges and the case was fixed. According to Stand Your Ground, it does not apply if you initiate the engagement. We all know that George Zimmerman initiated the engagement. The judge did not give the jury the proper they didn't give them the proper instruction. Again, we're talking about what it is to be black in this country, a young
Trayvon
black man.
Martin was
Excuse,
a
please let
good
me.
black.
Please allow me to finish my thought. I would greatly appreciate if you let me complete my thought because I'm concerned about this young black man. Okay, Daniel Penny's people did not they did not fail him. In the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, his people did not fail him. We do not need to fail Camilo Anthony. Camilo Anthony's going to need probably $2 or $3 million in funds for legal fees. First of all, he's on $1 million bail. Secondly, he's being charged with murder when we know it wasn't premeditation. As black people, we need to ensure that he is getting a fair trial. We already know he's not being treated fairly for the fact that he has $1 million bail. You can look at that young man and see he's not a problem. Secondly, why is he being charged with murder? They continue to harm black people because as black people, we allow it to continue. So the question is, was he in fear? Was his fear reasonable? To the black men in the room, was his fear reasonable? What it is to be black?
Absolutely.
When you saw George Floyd being hung, we talking about your brain, the amygdala, where you in your memory when you have fear, what it is to be black. So the question is, was his fear reasonable? And if you're black people and you don't recognize that his fear was reasonable, we got a problem. I appreciate you. Thank you.
So anyway, yeah. So you're right. When they lynched George
Thank
Floyd,
you.
one second. When they lynched him and they hung him, like you said, um,
They did what now?
the,
I'm
when George
talking about
Floyd
what
was hung,
happens to
you heard
black
They
men and
that's
their
what she
hung?
said.
brains.
That's what
I'm
she
talking about
said.
them when you
Okay.
No,
see
I
something,
didn't
what
know that
happens to
happened.
your
Yeah,
brain.
me either. But it is what it is. It
Do you
sounded
want
good.
it? No,
Listen to
no.
me.
It
Listen to me.
sounds good. We talking
One,
about. You want to talk
no,
about the brain,
no.
and what happens
One
to the
second, man.
brain of
Because
black
I
people in
didn't
this
interrupt you not
country?
one time,
Like everybody in
ma'am.
the room is defaulting to the
One moment, man. One moment. I didn't interrupt you not one time. You asked not to be interrupted, I extended that grace. Okay, so please don't interrupt me. All right, because you used a lot of we's. Okay, and I don't speak French. Okay, now as a black man in America, I know what I'm up against. Absolutely. All right, but what you coming in and you're like, oh, we gotta not fail him. All right, once again, and people didn't fail this person, the people didn't fail that person. Listen to me. I get where you're coming from. All right, but once again, um, this case, it's like this is getting heavy. I'm gonna mute out because I'm probably gonna say something that's gonna piss you off, and I'm not here to piss anyone off. Like I said, I've been standing neutral on here, and I just hate when people think everyone has to go militant because you fucking want to go militant. Okay, don't fucking place no obligation on me. I'm gonna do what I gotta do by myself. I'm gonna do what I gotta do when I gotta do it. But don't come with no we shit with me. Okay, and I'm not saying that to say anything other than you want me to be militant and go out there and do foolish shit that you gonna do. Probably because you ain't got shit to lose. We're all in different spots on our journey. Okay, and so all that we shit, and then you come talking about George Floyd got hung. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Okay, when they hung him. So you lost me there when you said that man was hung. All right, so you sitting here. and saying this shit, I'll be a damn fool to follow someone that could take an event like that and not know the fucking details and said in a public stage on three different platforms. I land with that.
I just think that you can say that this is wrong and want, for Carmelo Anthony to get the justice that he deserves and want, like, race to not be a factor,
I
for it
agree.
to not play what we see that it's playing in it right now, but also objectively look at what's going to happen and say, oh my goodness, I think that he's going to have a hard time. I don't think that it revokes your black card or anything of that,
Thank
because
you.
I can be as militant as that lady was just speaking, but when I went and read the statute and then not knowing the body of case law behind it, it made me say, oh my gosh, he's going to have a hard time. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. You want people to get upset and angry and make uninformed, irrational decisions because you're irrational and uninformed. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm trying to be factual here. So that's where it is. You know, it's more realistic.
Hey,
And who knows? As I learn more, I might become the most militant motherfucker out there. Okay, but the fact that someone is saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to sit back. I'm trying to figure this out," which we all should be doing. Okay, before I jump and go one way or the other. That doesn't like when you back he was in here and I'm fucking tired if they forget that. No, you mean forget? I'm not. Man,
you
I'm
know,
violent.
in a time when we live on a planet, when you got people killing all over the planet and defending straight up craziness, and then to have somebody in this passionate conversation to stand on what they stand on, and whoever feel however they feel, then feel however you feel. But I promise you, you're not gonna make somebody else not feel the pain of what it is to be wherever they are. So however you feel and wherever you are, you're entitled to that, but you're not going to change nobody else from feeling exactly how they feel about a situation that they can relate to. And they've seen them stories hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in their own life, in the history. And for them to feel that how they feel, you go ahead. We at a time right now where everybody ain't going to be on the same page, man. So you go out on the
Yeah,
page
yeah.
you want to go out
I
on.
agree.
That's
I
all I'm
agree with
saying.
everything you said.
That's all I'm saying, man. So, thank
I
God
agree
we in
with everything
America.
you just
So we
said.
all got a right to
Hey,
feel
look.
how we want to feel. You know what I'm saying? We leaving the planet. All of us gonna leave it one
Hey,
day. But
Sweetness.
you
I
know what I'm
agree with you
saying?
100%.
Praise God.
Sweetness. I agree with everything you just said. You
Praise
won't get
God.
one word of disagreement out of me. I
Praise
agree with
God.
everything you said. But the problem is, I'm the one that said I'm going to respect what you feel, how you feel. But he's the one that said that I should feel a certain way. So you talking to the wrong
I didn't hear him
person.
say
You
that.
need to be talking to her.
I didn't hear him
No,
say that.
no, no, no. No, she's the one that did everything that you said that shouldn't be done. She's the one that just did that.
What did she do? She said she talked about he was lynch. It was a certain kind of lynching. And that strikes a nerve with black folks. When that man is killed and everybody's sitting around watching this man get hung, get lynched, get choked to death, get beat to
Oh,
death. Yep, absolutely. All of that
the
gets
man
triggered.
wasn't fucking hung.
All of
See,
that
y'all
gets
agree
triggered,
and then
man.
y'all say shit like
All of
that.
that
Y'all
gets
lose
triggered.
support.
All of that gets triggered. I don't care about what you think, man. All of that gets triggered, man. You're not gonna overpower nobody with that. You feel however you want to feel, man. We feel that a certain way. And we ain't going out on no weeks. Whatever you talk about, it don't matter. We leaving the
You
planet
need a
one day,
lot of
man.
friends.
I'm
Sweetness, you
telling you,
need a
you
lot
feel
of
however you
friends.
want to feel, man. You ain't gonna tell nobody else how to feel about that. And
Yeah,
we know what
I'm
we
not
feel when we
telling
see
you.
that,
Hold
man.
on, bro. Hold on.
So you
Sweetness,
stand on whatever
I'm
you
not the
stand
one
on, and we
that's
see how it play out,
sweetness.
man. Don't talk
Sweetness,
to me
I'm not
about
the one
that,
that's
man.
trying to tell people how to feel.
Whatever you feel, however you
You're
want to
the one
feel
that's
about
trying to
it,
tell
man.
someone how to feel.
Got
I'm the
normal
one
up
that
in
say,
here
hey,
talking
you
about
feel how
he
you
want to
want to
defend
feel.
us. You don't represent us, man. You
Reload.
don't represent us, man. We leaving the
You
planet
do
one day,
it,
Reset.
man. Going out on this weak shit. You don't
no,
understand the
you're going
pain.
out on the
You
weekend. You're
represent
the
you,
one that
man.
you're
We
mad that I'm not
represent you,
mad.
man.
You're
You
mad
ain't gonna
and you're
squash
not mad.
nobody else's
I
feelings.
thought to
You ain't gonna tell
carry
nobody else how to feel.
on.
You
You're
feel
mad
however
and
you
I'm
feel,
not
man.
mad. You're mad that
We
I
still,
said let's get more
you don't know
facts.
me, man.
Swing
We don't
low.
have the facts. Let the jury decide.
I thought
Ain't no
to
jury up in here.
carry
Don't let
on.
nobody. We got a lot of shit that ain't resolved yet. Go ahead on, man. Set it off. Set it off, man. It ain't what we the hell we
Phoenix,
living
Phoenix.
for.
Setting it
What are you
off
talking
on
about,
Guys,
man?
that is
How you
guys,
gonna
crazy.
tell somebody they can't feel?
It's
They can't
our
feel what they feel.
time
The
You know
truth
what I'm
will
saying?
set you
guys,
to
free.
Thank God we in
we're
America,
not gonna
Cut
man.
you
agree on
off
this. We're
first.
not gonna
We got
agree
the
on this.
freedom of
You're
speech,
a
man.
police
swing
officer,
in the
aren't you?
We got
wall.
the freedom of speech, right? We can say how we
Mike,
feel,
let me
right?
find out, Mike.
You know what
Let me
I'm saying?
find out, Mike.
You
The
know what I'm
truth will
saying?
set you
I
free,
got a new
bro.
best
Don't
But
worry
friend.
it's
about
going
it,
to piss
Normo.
you off
You ain't
first.
like me, Normo.
You
You
in
ain't
the
like me,
pissed off
Normo.
stage. The
You
truth
ain't
will
like me,
set you
Normo.
free, bro.
And you
The
don't
truth will
represent
set
black
you
folks,
free.
Normo.
I don't
Hey,
claim
Normo, you
to.
don't represent
I
black folks, homie.
represent the truth, bro.
You don't
Jonathan,
represent
is that
us.
you
I
talking on
represent the
Clubhouse?
truth.
You don't
Gosh.
No,
represent
I'm
us,
over here
Normo.
I
listening to the
represent the
show.
truth.
I
You
know, yeah.
stay over there with your people, Normo. You don't represent us. Nobody
Hello?
asked for you to represent us
Hello?
and sell out.
The truth will set you free.
Hey,
But it's
Hello?
going to
Normo's
I'm
piss
just
gone?
you off
really
first.
Crazy
happy.
over
You
here.
just in the pissed off part.
Don't nobody want you around us, Normo. Stay over there, man.
Then leave. Then get on up and
Stay over there.
leave.
Ain't nobody going nowhere. We earned this, baby.
Oh
Get
my
up and
We ain't. You
God.
leave.
Hello?
leave. You just got here. You leave, man. You talking about leave? Make us
Dude,
leave.
Well,
dude,
now
you're
you
gonna
crazy. You
The
sound like
fuck?
Austin Metcalf asking
Talking
to
that stuff.
leave.
All the money you make off of black folks,
Get up and
Normo.
go.
You should be a lot more
But
sweet towards
you
black
need a
folks,
loan or
Normo.
something? You trying to ask for a loan? Is that what you do?
Well, I'm just really happy because I agree with Sweet. Nobody can know how Carmelo felt in that moment. And if he was really terrified, I mean, then he had a right to stab the the white boy.
That sounds like old Negro spiritual.
I know where you're going with this, Alan. I'm
Yeah,
just waiting for
what's
the shoe to
what's
drop.
what's really great is now finally people understand how a police officer feels when he shoots someone because that's their defense. No one can know how that police officer felt in that moment. So I guess all of those shootings now are justified.
Well,
I
they
mean,
walked
it's
right
it's
into
Nah,
that
I
one.
wouldn't go
you know,
there. I
They
Okay,
wouldn't go
walked
there.
right
You
into
just
I
see
that
how
wouldn't
it
one.
even
play
go
out.
there.
You just
now,
see how
now
it
hold
play
on a
out.
second.
Nah,
You
Who,
just see how it play
let
out.
that man
who
finish.
who
oh
said
oh
that
I'm
stupid
sorry.
shit?
Did I
Nah, we
say
gotta let that man
something?
finish, guys.
And I
You
don't
gotta
even
let the man
cuss.
finish. That's
Yeah,
the content. Go, sir.
yeah. Did but if you look at the actual police report, he went into the tent. And when I forget the white kid's name, um, when he told him you're in the wrong tent, Camelo said, "Touch me," and he said, he said, "Touch me and see what happens." Then when he repeated it, he said, "Punch me and see what happens." That's considered a provocation. When you provoke someone, you are no longer allowed legally to claim self defense. That's the
Oh, that's
law.
gonna be super
So how
So,
Alan,
the
Alan, were
how
you
so
there,
how
Alan?
Unarmed
nothing.
Hey,
person
Alan, were
provoking
you
a
there?
police officer. Not the same thing. Not the
Were
same
you
Yeah,
there,
thing.
Alan? Were you
yeah.
there, Alan?
sweet,
So
sweet. You gotta
Were
move
you
out
at
of
the
the
event?
way.
so a
Oh,
Move.
was
national
I
Yeah,
there?
were you there
No,
to see
but
it go
there were
down?
witnesses there
Sweet.
at
I
the
know you
police
listen,
report.
Jonathan, I'm
It's
going
going to
over
be
there because he about to get moved.
okay.
Yeah, okay, go ahead over there.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
going to
sweet,
be
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Camelo
yeah,
Come
yeah. You guys
defend
fucking up the
Alan. Come
show. It's
defend
time for
Alan.
you guys.
against
Well,
the
one second,
brother.
one mic, guys. Yo, you guys are messing up the show. People have different opinions. If you want to have a conversation with him, have a conversation. All right, that's not the way we run debate news. The way we always run debate the news is we're not gonna just like, oh no, that's people have done that in their rooms and spaces, and eventually their space disappear. That's not what we do here.
So
So
Jonathan,
no,
Jonathan,
Thank you, Jonathan. To answer
Alan,
his
one mic on
point,
Alan. I want Alan. Because guess what, Alan? I'm glad you brought that point up, that perspective up, because it's controversial, but once again, it gets people thinking. People could dismiss it or whatever, but it's something that once again that someone hasn't brought up, and it gets them thinking. So the mic's yours, Alan. Go ahead.
well, look, I understand a lot of people are saying it was self-defense. You can believe that, but in in, in the trial, and yes, none of us knows what's going to happen in the trial. None of us knows what the defense is going to say or how the judge is going to rule on any particular motions that defense or prosecuting attorneys say. But I just looked it up, and provocation, the it may be ruled that based on the facts that the witnesses come forth. And remember now, it's just going to be Camelo's word against the victim's brother and other people who were there, who saw what happened. The judge could say, tell the defense team, nope, you can't use the self-defense. Um, Self-defense as a justification because we have a provocation. I don't, none of us knows how it's going to go. But the fact is, he walked into the tent and twice he said, touch me and see what happens. And he had his hand in his backpack with the knife ready. That's a problem.
All right, okay, guys, listen to me, and that's a different perspective, guys. Like I said, listen, growth. All right, for me, like I can sit here and have these conversations all day, and I might get triggered at times, but I still want people to say what they have to say. People always saying, like, you freedom of speech or whatever. If you have freedom of speech, then the person that's talking and may not share the same belief as you have that same freedom of speech. And Alan, thank you for that perspective, man. It was enlightening, to say the least. It was enlightening. So
Jonathan.
yeah, go ahead.
So I listened to it was a defense attorney from Texas that has defended cases like this that came on TV, spoke about this case and the situation and what the legal precedence is. He says the uphill battle that he has is that he was carrying the knife. The second was that he brought it onto school property. The third was if he was afraid and he entered that, if, especially he goes, it's really bad if there's a preconceived or an issue beforehand, because then it starts to. This is what he's saying. If there was an issue prior, because there was rumors, there was a fight, whatever. If that's the case, it brings in premeditation. But he says, let's ignore that. He's going just with what the facts are
But
from the police
everything.
report.
Hold on a second. Everything you just said, I said.
Right, right. Listen,
Everything
listen.
I said,
Right.
everything you just said, I said earlier. But go ahead. I just want to
Yeah.
point that out.
Yep, I'm just telling you what this attorney did, and then they had a civil rights attorney come on and say the same thing, basically. So what he's looking at is by the time, and what the guy just said is exactly what these attorneys said. Now these are the ones in Texas. This is a civil rights attorney that came on and validated it. Not even at the same time; it was a day later. But these guys are coming in and they're saying where the uphill battle lies is in the fact that right away what he did was he then provoked it, like he said, but they say never say a word. Even if you know you're guilty, even if you're innocent, you don't say a word, and here's why. Self defense should have been I feared for my life, not I told him not to put my hands on him or no, not to put his hands on me, because you still have to have the wherewithal. It's got to be with reasonable force. And in Texas, even though Texas is a stand my ground or stand your ground state, you can't provoke the situation, or you immediately are going to get the self-defense is going to get tossed out. So what he's looking at is he's put himself, and it's really tough because he I think he thought he was doing the right thing by saying, yeah, I screwed up, I did that. But you can't do that because now he's hurt himself on a self-defense case. And that's where my initial thought was, I want the kid to have a great defense, because if you look at it, it's as much money as it is in anything in the judicial system. But trying to get that's going to be the real hard part, Jonathan. And there's a lot of dissension. Like I'm reading some things in the chat over here that I just can't believe people would put on a platform publicly, especially. But we're getting into a lot of hated the other sides, this side. They're taking sides, and it's just like we don't know all of the. We know a couple things from the police report, And everybody's turning this into a big battle that it shouldn't be until we know the facts. Once we know the facts, then we can start getting a little more animated. But right now, dude, all I know is one kid's dead and another one had a great future ahead of him. I mean, look, she's a college football recruit, and it's all gone. And so we can hope for the best for this young man that, change. Maybe he can get out there and be a great positive voice. But right now, the two parents, the families involved, are being more civil than the rest of everybody else out there and saying, hey, we feel terrible about this. Both of them, the one has forgiven the other has reached out and said, we feel for you, we're sorry. That's how we got to look at these things instead of this emotional tirades that we go into and saying, over here someone saying kill a white, kill a white, kill a white. I just don't get that logic.
You gotta,
Well,
first of all, these are
I got to
strangers
challenge
on
something
here.
that was said.
Second of all, second of all, the thing is, people are going to be on either sides of this. In the era of Trump, I can't believe now y'all want facts. Like this is crazy. Because you don't want facts any other time, but now you want to ask for facts and wait for judgment. The hypocrisy is crazy. The other thing though about this entire situation, it's just we actually need a little bit more information, but people are going to be on either side of this thing. You know why? Because for a lot of people of color, they have been where he has been. They've been there. Just because of the color of your skin, there's a level of some that feel that there's a level of inferiority or even white supremacy that enters, right? Like those things happen. People are thinking about those things. Not even just that, the size of Austin. He was 255, 6'1". This kid I think
Yeah.
was 5'9" or 5'7". I don't remember which one, but he was not the same size as the guy or the twin. The other thing is you're talking about it, and I said this to someone earlier, because you're an adult male. You are not a child. You don't know what went through his head. We don't know. That was a young man who should not have brought a knife. He should have spoken to someone, an adult, if he felt like he was constantly picked on by whomever. Now he didn't know the twins apparently, and I was corrected on that. But whatever he went through, he felt the need to carry a weapon on his person. He did not tell an adult. There are bigger issues that have to deal with humanity before we even get to race. And I get the lady that had the statement about as being a black person, yada yada yada. That's great. I'm all with her on that. However, if we keep making it about race and not about humanity, then I think we're going to miss it. We're going to miss this opportunity because there are kids now that feel the need to bring a weapon to school and they're not telling an adult. So what are we going to do then as the adults in the room? And I land there. Thank you.
Hey,
Well, I
Chad,
want
can
to
you can
challenge
you
something
um
that was
can you
said
clarify something
by
for me,
Island Man.
please? Hold on, Corey. I need clarification, please. Um, is it true that the two brothers jumped this young man?
No, they did not.
That's not
That's
true.
not true.
Okay.
No.
Depends on who you
Yeah,
ask.
that
No,
depends
it's
on who
not
you ask.
depends on who you ask. The fact is they were not jumped by the twins. They were not.
How do we
Well,
know that's a
that was
fact?
that
It's
was
in
a
the
father.
police
Oh, the
report.
It
police
was a
report.
father.
Oh, okay. The
33
police report said so. Oh, okay.
Well,
I put the
Well,
police
an
33
report
alien
link in the
came down
chat.
from the sky and pushed the baby.
Oh,
What you want me to say,
every
Raymond?
police report is accurate. There we go.
It's more accurate
Oh,
than what you know.
right. Let's trust the police report, y'all. Fuck.
Mute your mic. It's more accurate than what you
Oh,
Right,
know.
right.
You weren't there.
Okay, trust the police
Go ahead,
report.
the
Corey.
sad
witness
well,
statements. Witness
there
statements.
was a
The sad thing about what Chat is saying about him being a child is that I believe he's 17, so he's going to be charged as an adult. So that logic of juvenile mindset won't apply. It would be like of a reasonable adult because he's being charged as an adult. And the other thing, and this is the last thing I'll add for the evening, is that we have to consider, like, yes, because the guy mentioned about the statements that he made, like whoever said the statements, the attorneys in Texas that talked about the statements, those are statements can be excluded. And then this could change the whole dynamics of the trial.
Yep.
So this is why I say like we can't put like blanket statements on it because do we know that he was Mirandized when he made those statements? That can make those statements be excluded, you know? So we just have to really like not look at it from a one narrow lens and look at it from the totality. Like these statements can be excluded, the jury will never hear it, and then we can have a totally different game plan for what the defense would bring to the court. So we just have to wait and see. But also, you know, it's okay to be emotional about it. I was emotional about it when I first heard about it. Shoot, my best friend's son could have been at that track meet, you know, on that day, you know. So it's okay to be emotional about it, but I say don't rush to judge. We don't know all the facts, and when it does come out, we watch, we wait, and we see.
I just wanted to
I
point
want to
out that
challenge
every
something
man on this
Corey and
stage
Allen said.
knows exactly what it's like to be a teenage boy of 17. We've all gone through it. So, yeah.
Are
Now,
you black?
Allen and Corey.
Are you black?
What difference does
I
that
want to
Don't
make?
answer that,
I
Alan.
said a teenage
now.
boy.
Normal, be quiet.
N-
Well, no, because
Yeah,
there
no,
is
I'm
a
not going to be
there's a
quiet.
Normal, be quiet.
Yeah.
One mic, one mic,
You
one mic,
don't know what it's like to
one
be
mic.
a teenage boy.
Alan, one mic.
You can't even speak on it.
Alan, one mic, one mic.
I know what it's like to be a teenage
One
boy. I
mic,
just
one mic,
Remus.
one mic. Thank you. Hey guys, yeah, this is going to conclude this section. We're going to reopen this room in 10 seconds again. Once again, this room will be reopened in 10 seconds. Uh, this is the under the bonus section of the podcast, but this room will be reopened in 10 seconds. So, with that being said, guys, come the room is going to be boom and open in 10 seconds. Chatter, you're fine. But this room will be boomed and reopened in 10 seconds. Remus, you should be able to find the room in 5 seconds. Thank you.
And